So welcome everybody. At the start here, I just want to say thank you to Hunter College and to the president of Hunter College, Ann Kirkner, who has very kindly
Sorry, Russell. Now you don't have an echo.
perfect. President Kirschner would like to say hello to everybody, and so please welcome.
College, we're delighted to have you here. I'm sort of new-ish, I would say, to Hunter College because I'm a veteran of CUNY. But as many times as I've been here, I've never been to actually this room. So this is the first time I'm coming here. We are thrilled to be part of this neighborhood. I know that sometimes we've brought faculty here and provided interns, and really today providing this space. I hope you'll forgive me when I tell you I'm an Upper West Sider. Is that okay?
I was born there.
Sorry, good. Actually, I was born and lived on 110th and 3rd till I was 3. Then I moved to Jackson Heights. I'm going to give you my whole biography, and then to Rockland County. But I'm a lifelong New Yorker. So this place, I thought I had retired from CUNY a couple of years ago, and I came back because when public education is as important to your life as it was to mine, a place like CUNY can your skin. This place, as you will see in the next couple of weeks, you've seen it, for years, 20,000 students streaming in, and they're all after the same thing, which is transformation of life through public education. And I think Hunter has been an astonishing place to demonstrate that academic excellence and affordability are not mutually exclusive. So thanks for coming today. I don't imagine you have any questions for me, but if you do, I'd be happy to answer them. And otherwise, I am delighted to turn you over to your chair, who will address all the issues of this history, right?
That's right.
That's right.
We all will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I just want to add, we've been so proud to partner with Hunter so much over the years. It's an institution we're very proud to have in our district. So thank you. I see we are also joined by Assembly Member Rebecca Sira. If you would like to speak.
Thank you, Russell, and it's great to join all of you tonight and to be back at Hunter College. I just drove back from the Capitol in Albany, and I have to tell you, there is no more beautiful sight or view in the whole world than Albany in the rearview mirror. We finished our legislative session in June. This session, the speaker appointed me to be the chair of the People with Disabilities Committee. We passed a number of bills on Disability Awareness Day. We have a workforce crisis with our direct service providers. We'll be holding a hearing this summer on wages, and we were calling for an 8.5% COLA, which we'll continue to advocate for. And the governor just signed one of my bills last week, an open-end loan bill. I also want to recognize my chief of staff. Today is her birthday, Courtney. And I want to congratulate all the new members and thank all the outgoing members of the community board. We're hosting our very popular shredding event on July 23rd on 68th Street at the park, and invite you to bring all of your materials.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Next, I see we're joined on Zoom by Councilmember Keith Powers. So we'll turn over.
1 second. Sorry about that. All right.
All right, thank you there. Hey, Russell, and hey, everyone. Nice to see you guys. Sorry, I'm not there with you in person, but nice to be with everyone virtually. I can't beat that time. That was pretty good from Assemblymember Seawright, but I'll try to keep it quick and brief. Just nice to see everyone. Wanted to give a quick few updates on things at the council, and then I'll depart. Number one is if you might have seen in the news last week, myself and the borough president introduced a new package of bills aimed at air quality, something we're all, I think, very focused on. This is indoor air quality, focused on our schools, our municipal buildings, commercial, residential, to give us better monitoring and data and transparency when it comes to indoor air quality. I'm very excited to have a lot of sponsors on the bill in the city council already, including all the relevant chairs. And the whole entire purpose here is to give New Yorkers a much better understanding of what's happening inside of their buildings, inside of their where we spend 90% of our time is indoors. One of the ones that really I think is going to stick out is giving us a better data and real life data on school air quality. We actually had looked at the city of Boston. They have an online map right now. You can go on and you can look at inside of a school building and see exactly what the air quality is inside that building and what contaminants may be in the air, and would certainly give us as elected officials a much better better tools to go in and either do capital improvements or find ways to address it. So very excited by that. I think a very, very big step and first step for our city and our state to address something that we rarely talk about, which is our air quality or indoor air quality when we talk about legislation. So very excited about that. Also very excited about a bill that passed the council, headed to the mayor's desk right now, which is to expand mental health beds in the city. My legislation I introduced a few months ago, which we just passed, gives the city 4 more centers we call crisis respite centers, which are for individuals who may not need a psychiatric bed, but are going need a mental health and need mental health services and need a place to go in the short term and interim. It's sort of a place to catch somebody who may be in need. And we expanded 4 more, we doubled them basically in the city right now. I've had an opportunity to visit one of them. There's one right down the block from my house. I say to people, I walk by it every day. It's right next to the school that I went to growing up. No idea that was going on, but a very nice facility where people who need help can get it. And so we're sending that bill to the mayor's office right now. Very excited about that. And obviously, we're in a moment where mental health is at the top of everybody's mind. So excited about that. We did pass our budget in the end of June, which is all the different priorities here in the city, made much more difficult by a lot of different pressures on us right now. The loss of federal spending, more spending that we had to assume from the state, and obviously the asylum seeker crisis and other pressures on our budget. It makes it a lot harder to do everything we want to do, but we still wanted to make sure we fought for some of the critical services. The council completely restored funds for our 3 library systems. We put all the money back in that was getting cut so we can save our library systems. We restored all the funding for additional sanitation and litter basket collection. So we're back to where we were, where we should be when it comes to picking up the garbage every single day. That's before you talk about the services that myself and Councilmember Rennan put in the area to do supplemental services. But to put money in, we put more money in to support legal service providers, so people that do the stuff like eviction, right to counsel work. So we put 30 million more to that. For us on the Upper East Side, we are a culture and tourism hub when it comes to our cultural institutions. We put fully restored money back to cultural institutions. We added a new pilot program for full day 3K to expand those seats from partial day to full day to give parents who need it a much better opportunity to take advantage of it, and tried to fight the mayor very hard on his cuts to CUNY and got a lot of money back. We still are trying to put more back in there, of course. So that is done. lots of funding in there for our local schools, lots of funding in there for things like our parks and I guess our sanitation service, lots of funding for a lot of our neighborhood organizations are doing great work. So happy that we were able to get that squared away. And I think basically just on time, I'll stop there. But I wanted to come and say hello. And and the last thing I wanted to add was, I should mention this, is we're going to send this out, but there has been, we've been out there with the 19th precinct a few times around, I see Andrew Fine here around 86th Street and around that area, concerned with a few different things. Obviously, there's always retail theft that we're concerned about, but also some of the more violent incidents that have taken place, including the one that took place Monday. We've been working very, very closely with the 19th precinct. Inspector Gallagher, if you don't know him, is great, very responsive, very on top of the issues, working with him. We're also, Councilmember and I had been reach out to the mayor's office and the new police commissioner about seeing if we can help increase some foot patrols around the 19th precinct area on 86th Street and Lex. We think they're doing great. We want to give them a little more resources so they can do all the things they want to do. And we also have had some really good success with their partnership, and actually some of our neighbors can partnership on some of the retail theft issues that have been happening there, especially there on Target. So we're doing a lot there, but we did actually send out a letter today asking to put some extra help there and make sure that those areas that we need extra attention can get it as well. Alongside all the other services we're doing there as well. But anyway, I wanted to just say hello beyond that. And Jesse from my office is here. Please reach out anytime we can be helpful to any of us, to anybody here. And always want to say thank you everyone for all you guys do on behalf of the Upper East Side.
Thank you very much. All right, so we're going to now start the public session, and it's going to be a combination of folks who are here in person and on Zoom. So if you're on Zoom and I call your name, raise your hand so that we can find you and unmute you. You can use the raise hand feature in Zoom, so he'll be able to find you. And if you're in person, just come down to the mic. Everybody speaking in the public session will have 2 minutes and 2 minutes only. We're very strict with the timer. And I will try to, for folks who are in person, give you a heads up, 1 or 2 people before you're going to speak, so that you can use that time to make your way to the mic. And that will, are there other instructions here for the public session?
Yes, there are. And I tried to make myself more prepared for this than I was last time. So if you're calling in from the phone and your name is called, please use the *9 to raise your hand and then *6 to unmute whenever you're called on. And this is for everybody. If your name is called and you signed up for the public session, you will need to confirm unmuting once your name is called. So look out for that on the screen. And if you're having problems, your name is called and you can't find the raise hand button or whatever, use the chat to chat me, and I will help you and assist you and make sure you get your chance in the public session. Otherwise, you will see a 2-minute timer whenever we start, and you'll hear an audible noise whenever your time is up.
Thank you. And with that, we're going to start with Peter Gray. Oh, and one last thing. Sorry, just tell us if you're from the district, because that's important to folks.
Yes, please share. I see a PG's iPhone. If that is Peter Gray,
that's me. Yes. Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead and start.
Hi guys. My name is Peter Gray. I was born and raised on the Upper East Side. The apple hasn't fallen far from the tree. I live here now with my wife, who also grew up on the Upper East Side. We've got 2 kids. I'd say, so start by saying I'm an avid biker, especially just commuter. I commute to work basically every day with biking. So I am one of the bikers. But I'd say the sort of the biking in the realm, the situation as regards to biking, I'd say feels like it's kind of deteriorated in the last 10 years or so, just from a safety perspective, obviously also an adoption perspective. So I'm the first person to say there are incredible benefits to biking. I love biking in New York City, but I think we've sort of passed that sweet spot where I think there's an unnecessary amount of danger, because there's basically sort of no, there's there's no enforcement around, right, getting people just to bike in a safe way, especially with the advent of the electric scooters that go much faster, and thus, right, impact would be more severe. So I was compelled by a specific incident on 86 and Lex when it was a pure red light for the traffic going south on Lexington, and both crosswalks were totally full, and an e-bike just blasted through the first one. It's like this person was clearly just was troubled in some way or another because it was so egregious. But it blasted through the first group of people and actually made impact with someone on the second and just kept going. But I'd say at this point, as someone who has young children, the safety point of view has gotten to the point where I feel like I have to inform our nanny and myself to look at between every single car in every single direction every time I cross the street to look for bikers, etc. So I don't know what the solution is, but I think but something has to be done.
Thank you.
That's it.
Next we'll go to Andrew Fine.
Sorry, guys. Used to doing this on 3 screens. The peek behind the curtain. Andrew Fine, go ahead and unmute.
Will, technically, can you enlarge the speaker?
I can flip
Put this on
everything around.
speaker view?
Yeah,
You know?
give me one second to figure out how to do that.
It's the upper left.
No, so what happens is I have to keep it in this so that the Zoom does its thing, and
Yeah, I'll shut up.
yeah, I know, it's if you give me a few minutes, I'll try to figure something
Why
out.
don't you play around with it while people are saying?
Yeah. Andrew, you're unmuted, and I will start your timer as soon as I can find my mouse. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, CB8, for the opportunity to speak. Russell, thank you so much. I'm Andrew Fine from East 84th Street in the district, representing the East 86th Street Association and the E-Vehicle Safety Alliance. On behalf of myself, East 86th Street, and the Alliance, we wholeheartedly support the resolution passed out of the Transportation Committee to register, license, and insure all motorized bikes, gas or electric, to require sellers of these same bikes, mopeds, and motorcycles to require registration before being allowed to leave the store or to be delivered. Sorry, I'm talking so fast. We also support an immediate cessation of the pilot program allowing e-bikes to menace pedestrians, joggers, and traditional cyclists inside of Central Park. E-bikes and motorized two-wheelers have gotten completely out of control. It's the Wild West. They are a danger to our public on many levels. Crashes into pedestrians and traditional cyclists are growing exponentially, and so are the injuries. E-bike batteries are sparking fires that have killed 13 people so far this year. Again, another exponential increase. E-bikes are being used in the commission of crimes. Just last week, we had 2 separate scooter shooters, actually mopeds, that killed 1 and injured 7, including a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. A similar moped was used in the Dayona Deli murder from a couple of months ago. This is our last chance. We need to take back our streets and our sidewalks. We're not looking to penalize hardworking deliveristas. We're looking to change behavior, reassert the rule of law, and finally bring accountability to riders that break the law and endanger our public safety, our peace of mind, and our freedom to walk the streets. This Mad Max nonsense must stop. Please contact us at nyc.evsa@outlook.com if you're interested in joining our cause. Thank you so much, and I hope the resolution passes this evening.
Thank you. Next is Dylan Geronimo Kennedy, and after that's going to be Liz Daly. So if you want to start making it down.
So this is a bit, I'm gonna be able to get it, guys, because I'm sharing my screen for the Zoom people to have their timer. Go ahead.
Hi, so I wanted to speak in opposition to the ruling, to the resolution as passed. However, I do support a majority of it. I hear a lot of people's complaints about this meeting, and I think Andrew Fine listed a number of very troubling circumstances where vehicles are used in crime. But I believe most of the situations he described were mopeds. And oftentimes when I am in a bike lane or walking around, I encounter a lot of difficulties and frustrations with people on, mopeds in the bike lane. There are no pedals. There's no like possible idea that they would ever actually be, biking in the traditional sense. And so I like a lot that's in this resolution. I just wish it were tailored more towards mopeds, at least as a starting point. Let's introduce these to a smaller range of vehicles, which we think are the largest problem. And then from there, we can see how we can scale it differently. But I think we should concentrate on mopeds. I will say, I do think that the e-bike battery problem is a real one. And I absolutely support the parts that are working to ensure that those are the proper batteries that, are less likely to set on fire, because I do think that that is an issue that we absolutely should tackle. So there are parts of this that I really like. I think we should focus on mopeds. I think the e-bike batteries is still a place. And I know at the last transportation meeting, when it got brought up, removing them from Central Park. I frequently bike in Central Park. I like to do it as a form of exercise. However, when I had a friend in town, she does not have the leg strength, but it was still quite nice for her to be able to ride on an e-bike slowly through Central Park, still be able to see it while not being too worried about the big hills. I think there are ways we can make Central Park safer, but I do think there is a place for recreational, slow e-bike use in the park. Thank you very much.
Next is Liz Daly.
Well, thank you, Russell. And if
If it's not on, there's a button on there. There's a button on the top.
okay, is that better?
It's on top.
The way the speakers are set up, you're just gonna have to really project, because otherwise it's just framing in on that speaker over there.
Uh-huh.
And we're all, everybody will
Speak
just be
close to the mic.
staring at.
Okay, hi, I'm Liz Daly from the Frick. Good evening. It's great to be back here in person. I just want to let you know about some of our exciting events that are coming up at Frick Madison. So we've recently opened an installation by the Swiss pastel artist Nicholas Party. And he did a three-part installation in response to one of our portraits by Rosalba Carriera. So that installation will be up until March 3rd of next year, which will be the last day that Frick Madison will be open to the public. Also, for those of you who are in love with our more traditional aspects, our 3 Lumières are back after having been at the Rijksmuseum recently, and then also our Spanish paintings by Goya and El Greco have returned. They were in the Prado on the loan for a while, and they would all love to be visited by you. If you haven't been, Frick Madison is on Madison Avenue and 75th Street. We're open to the public from Thursday through Sunday, 10 to 6 p.m. And while you're there, you can also visit the Sister Yard downstairs for coffee and pastries. And before I go, I'd like to remind you that we are now offering free admission to youth between the ages of 10 and 17 through the remainder of our residents of Frick Madison. And also, if you are a holder of a SNAP EBT card, you and 3 of your guests can come to Frick Madison free of charge. And additionally, pay what you wish admission is offered on Thursdays from 4 to 6 p.m. So if you'd like more information, just go to our website, www.frick.org. And I look forward to seeing you all at Frick Madison soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Elliot Spitzer.
One moment. Elliot, you may unmute.
There we go. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you. I was just struggling to unmute. I'm too old for this technology. I just want to say thank you to the members of the Landmarks Committee. We had a wonderful hearing Monday evening, a full vetting of the issues pertaining to the new building we're going to build at 985 Fifth Avenue. And we're thrilled, of course, that the committee approved our construction, the project. It will be exquisite. It will be fitting to the nature of Fifth Avenue. We'll replace a building that, while our family built it several decades ago, is not, we think, really in the best aesthetics of Fifth Avenue. And what we will create will be something people will look at and marvel at. Bill Sofield and Slice have created really a spectacular new addition to the Fifth Avenue landscape. And we're just thrilled to contribute, as we have as a family for 7 decades, not only to the architecture of the city and the housing in the city. We have built thousands of units, but also to the culture. And I'm thrilled that tonight's hearing is at Hunter College. You may know my dad's name is on the architecture school at CCNY, and which is where he graduated from many decades ago. We think of ourselves as a family of and part of New York City, and we're very excited to continue that long tradition. And so thank you very much, and we look forward to, we hope, your approval of tonight's resolution that will come out of the Landmarks Committee, as well as your approval of the building as it emerges over the next several years. Thank you very much. And as somebody who spent several years in public service, thank you all who are participating tonight for your participation. It's not always easy, but it really is extraordinarily rewarding. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Governor. Next, we'll go to Charles Stinson.
Charles, you can unmute. Just look for a prompt on your screen.
Hello, all. I wasn't expecting to speak, but since I was given the forum, I recently heard from other people in my building on 3rd Avenue and 90th Street that there were going to be some buildings torn down and a new development put in between 3rd Avenue and 2nd Avenue on 90th. I would just like to find out how an interested party from the public can find out about such developments and how I can sort of know what's going on and where should I look for information on these kinds of events. That's my sole question.
So certainly in terms of community board events, if you get on our email list, you can find out about committee hearings and things like that that are going on. And we have committee meetings almost every night. So I would encourage you to, if you're interested in getting more involved with the issues that we deal with, to do that and come to our meetings. Next, let's go to Judy Bird. And Stephanie Reckler, you'll be after that. So if you want to start coming down. Judy Bird, you can unmute.
Greetings from Roosevelt Island. You hear me? Okay, greetings from Roosevelt Island. First, I hope that tomorrow we're having a special event at Kohler, and it's an honoring of our community board and auxiliary members. And unfortunately, we were hoping to have a celebration of a new ramp so the residents could get to the East River waterfront from Kohler, but nothing has happened with that. And we're looking for our politicians to help us so that the Kohler residents can get to the promenade, which is literally feet from their door. All they have is a few curb cuts that are needed. Secondly, I'm looking forward to hear from the Transportation Committee and finding out what's happening with our supposed shuttle service and use of the Q because the F train is going to be closed for months and months. And we hope to hear more soon on that. Third, I'm very distressed when I found out that EDC and the new Andrew Haswell Green promenades along the river from 54th Street to 96th Street will not have a bathroom. Nowhere in the world are you allowed to build such a long public project. 2 different agencies, Parks and EDC, did not consider human needs as part of their plans. And enough is enough. This board cannot keep approving plans and setting things in motion when basic public amenities are not provided for. It is very distressing to see millions and millions spent and there's no toilet in sight. And third and final, a nicer subject. There's a beautiful mosaic sponsored by MTA Arts and Transit that finally was built after 10 years and it was just exposed. So come to Roosevelt Island, walk out of the subway station and see a beautiful mural by Diana Cooper entitled Double Take. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Next is Stephanie Reckler.
Thank you.
Please speak to
Russell.
the mic if you can.
I'm Stephanie Reckler. I represent the Committee to Protect Our Lenox Hill Neighborhood. I live on 78th and Park Avenue. We were formed 5 years ago. We paused everything during COVID. We reactivated February 1st when Northwell released its new plans for Lenox Hill Hospital. There will be no condominium on Park Avenue. Instead of the condominium, Northwell will keep part of the hospital as a functioning hospital. On Lexington Avenue, The proposed plan is for a 494-foot tower. It will, the construction will take 11 years and cost $1.5 million. The 11 years is because Northwell wants to keep part of the hospital as a functioning hospital. We will be hosting a town hall on September 20th at St. James Baptist Church. The announcement is on Instagram and on our website, savelennoxhill.org. I hope that one of our committees will invite us to present before that or during, we will be here during the ULURP process. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is going to be Janice Ziegler, and that's going to be followed by Jeanette Goldman here in person and also Matt Bauer here in person.
Sorry, Janice.
Hello. My name is Janet.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Janice Ziegler. I live at 156 East 79th Street, and I wanted to voice my support for the Landmark Committee's unanimous decision on Monday to recommend that the application for 163 East 78th Street be denied. The building in question is a lovely historic townhome, which has not been modified in any way since 1939. The proposed modification would constitute a major change. It would add 14.5 feet to the height of the building, which would affect the view shed and would also be the highest landmark townhome on that street. In terms of the historic district, the addition would be extremely modern and out of place for that historic building, and the proportions would be really too large. So I think, as the committee recognized unanimously, this is not an appropriate modification for this beautiful old townhome, and I do support their decision to recommend to deny the application. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeanette? Right up at the mic.
I have a thought though. Next time, can you have someone that has a traveling microphone? We don't have to.
Yeah, we always do it this way.
The thought.
All right, fair enough.
Everything's.
Go ahead, go ahead.
And your timer is over here, by the way. I don't have a great way to get it other than just
Okay.
like boombox style.
Okay.
And
Can you hear me?
Yes,
movie that's older than I am.
but yes, we go.
This is, I gather, a small thing, but a very large thing for our neighborhood. I live on 86 between Park and Lex. We have a problem, as the other gentleman was talking about, as far as the safety in the area, but this is another point. We have a newspaper stand on, I guess you'd say, the west side of 86th Street. There is a space in between the stairways, both stairways, and there is someone that has been feeding the pigeons. My girlfriend, 2 people, one almost got hit in the eye. We're on 87th Street by a pigeon. And any number of people have had problems with them. They're all over the place. Because someone is there feeding them every morning and every night. I don't know who, I have no idea who I should discuss that with. But also the area is, my thought was, we have a newspaper stand, and the area where the pigeons are is a space that the newspaper stand could very well be situated. So first of all, it won't be in the way of everybody on the sidewalk. It's much too close, and you wouldn't have a pigeon problem. Because the problem with the pigeons are the rats. When you walk in the area, there are rats all over the place at night. They are eating all of the food for the pigeons. I had a problem with the pigeons last week during the major rainstorm. A pigeon hit my window and it was flat against my window. And it was like the wings were going, and these pigeons are always in front of mine and everybody else's windows in the area. And I live on 111 East 85th Street, which is 86th Street also. Maybe I would think that the newspaper stand would help. That's it.
Thank
you.
All right, Matt Bauer.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you all. I'm Matt Bauer. I'm the director of the Madison Avenue Business Improvement District. It's like great to see everyone. I just want to, as I always do, begin with a couple of new store openings because that's what it's all about. Collezioni opened up at 786 Madison, doing fine spirits. Elise Walker at 926 Madison, doing fashion. Tokugawa, a restaurant, opened up at 1022 Madison Avenue, and Warren Tricomi opened up a brand new salon at 969 Madison, and tomorrow Lanvin is going to be opening their new flagship at 855 Madison Avenue. So also really want to say thank you to the Community Board's Transportation Committee and Landmarks Committee, which reviewed the Madison Avenue bus shelter proposal at its last meeting. We very much support their resolution, and a couple of important points. You know, even though the bus shelters were approved, the plan was approved by the Franchise Concession Review Committee. It hasn't gone before the Community Board, but until now. But these new shelters should be really reviewed by the Landmarks Preservation Commission as well, because they are in the historic district. They don't maintain the same 8-foot clear path as every restaurant that's going before the Community Board will have to do for its sidewalk cafes or any other installation on the street. So it's very important that we maintain, you know, that width to make it safe on Madison Avenue and provide that same clearance. The advertising that's going to be on these bus shelters is going to be most likely video advertising. And according to the original RFP for the bus shelter program and all the other the EAS and everything going before it, it always said that the advertising should be actually directed by the zoning of the adjacent properties, and the adjacent properties do not allow video advertising. So it's very important that this long tradition is maintained. And lastly, that it does say in the new franchise agreement that all new proposals could be approved by the commission, by the Transportation Committee. So it needs to go before the Community Board. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Next is Rupa Ansari.
Hi, everyone. My name's Nuha Ansari, and I'm speaking on behalf of Friends of the Upper East Side Historic Districts about the Transportation Committee resolution on the 6 new bus shelters proposed for Madison Avenue. Friends expressed their concern about the proposed bus shelters in 2019, and even though they've been redesigned with a slimmer profile, we still believe that they would obstruct views of the storefront on Madison Avenue, one of the most significant character-defining features of the avenue, as noted in the LPC's Historic District Designation Report. They would be detrimental to the pedestrian experience of Madison Avenue, whose storefronts maintain a visually intricate and striking modular rhythm derived from the 25-foot width of the row houses in which they're housed. Bulky permanent bus shelter installations would undermine this special historic character and impede and add clutter to the public way on the narrow sidewalks. We also strenuously object to the digital advertising screens that are part of the bus shelter design. Under the LPC's Madison Avenue storefront master plan, the storefronts themselves would not be permitted any similar illuminated or flashing digital signs. We also believe, in accordance with the research undertaken by our colleagues at the Madison Avenue bid, that the bus shelters would be in violation of zoning regulations that govern this stretch of Madison Avenue and do not allow for flashing signs. And we urge the LPC to please review both the bus shelters for appropriateness and location on Madison Avenue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, let's go to Evelyn David, please. And after that, it's going to be Erica Burson here in person. So if you want to come down. Erica.
Oh, good evening. Thank you so much for calling on me. I didn't even know if I was in the system. I had to hang up and do it again. Sound wasn't working very well anyway. So first thing is scooters. I don't know if you know this, but they are now illegal in Paris. I don't know if they've outlawed them in all of France, but just to let you know that you're completely on the right track, and congratulations on passing that resolution. It's about time somebody did something. So that's one thing. The other thing is I'm getting all of us who drive cars are getting anxious about congestion pricing, and I know you already know this. but any way to start the conversation again after this meeting or at the appropriate time about parking passes? And any way to not, so that people don't violate, you make your rules and then make them so nobody can mess with the rules. Do you know what I mean? So that's a question. And the other thing is, you seem to be in a venue tonight. How will we know if you are going to be meeting in some place? You used to post them, but I didn't see any postings today. And I looked again on the website today, and it didn't say that you were. Are you at Hunter? That's my question. Okay, so how would anybody have? I mean, where did you post that? I can't hear you. Cannot hear you.
Finish your remarks and I'll respond to you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll call tomorrow. I'll find out. And anyway, I hope you're still going to keep some meetings on Zoom. It is very helpful for those of us that, get up really early in the morning, go to work and run around all day. So, okay. But thank you very much. And that's about it. And I hope the something will start. Okay. Thank you.
So our land use committee and full board meetings, which are meetings of our full board, are hybrid now and are going to be hybrid through September and possibly through October. And at some point, between now and then, we will decide whether on a permanent basis, we're going to be having hybrid meetings or fully in-person meetings. And that's to comply with the open meetings law. So the days of fully Zoom land use committee and full board meetings are over, but our committee meetings are still staying on Zoom till the end of the year, unless committee chairs decide that they would like to do those on a hybrid basis or in person. So that's going to be sort of the rule, broadly, certainly for the rest of the year. And I believe we put the locations of the meetings in the meeting notices and on the website.
Yeah, I did.
So
I'm currently, for anybody on Zoom, you can see on our website, when you go to our meeting, it says this meeting is conducted hybrid, in person and via Zoom. Hunter College West Building, where we are. The address here is actually very confusing, so I don't actually give the address because people show up on Park Avenue. But it says on our meetings at the very top in the agenda, you can see where our meetings are located.
It was in the email also.
So that's it. Yeah. So it's on there. With that, go ahead, Eric.
Thank you. So today I went to the MTA's meeting with the Transportation Mobility Board of Directors. My key takeaway from it is, one, congestion pricing is moving forward, and the MTA, their message is that this money and the program is fully for them. Their issues are less about the climate, which is where my issues lie, but I am extremely opposed to the way they're rolling it out. What we've learned is that they are using the old data, I think from 2017, and Alita has done more than a deep dive. She's done like the Titanic submarine dive into congestion pricing. That's just, this board has done an amazing job of actually getting the facts correct. And what I heard today from the MTA are not the facts. And several of us were there in person and others listened online. We have an uphill battle. They keep promising us that they're going to hold public meetings to get public feedback. There's nothing online about it. There's no indication of when those might be happening. And on top of that, we have had, we've gotten together to meet with representatives from Nadler's office, and we've been summarily dismissed. And my other elected officials, I know it's a split, some people have different reps, but we're going to keep on it. So if you're interested, feel free to reach out.
Thank you. Next is Lo Vanderbilt.
I don't see Lo, but Leslie's
Okay,
right.
Yeah, Leslie, come on. Leslie Carroll.
Rose online, I'll get it.
Hi, I'm Leslie Carroll, from the Goat Hole Neighborhood Association. We're on 95th Street between Park and Lex. And so I guess you guys are considering a pot store, at 1412 Lex. And I just wanted to tell you what's going on in the neighborhood.
What's the cross street? I'm sorry.
95th.
Thank you.
So we have 3 illegal pot stores in the neighborhood. Convenience of Lexington at 1436, Lexington Smoke and Gift at 1428, and Valley Vibes on 96. So since those illegal pot stores open, the kids from the neighborhood schools buy the pot. And they're not allowed to smoke in the park. So they come and hang out on our stoops and smoke the pot. And we don't have a problem with them. They're very mellow kids. But I'm not sure adding another pot store to the neighborhood is what the kids need. So I just wanted to let you know, it's not been a huge problem, but that's what's going on. It's usually in the hours between 4 and 6:30. They congregate. There's usually 4 or 5 of them. They pass around the pipe and smoke pot. And some people have taken to putting up chains across their stoop because of the secondhand smoke. Personally, I don't think we need another pot store, but thank you.
Thank you. Next, Lo Vanderbilt.
Well, you can unmute.
Okay,
Go ahead.
thank you. My name is Lo Vanderbilt, representing Carnegie Hill Neighbors. Carnegie Hill Neighbors is not against a well-regulated system for managing cannabis dispensaries. It will tamp down on unregulated transactions that pose serious health risks. But we oppose the current dispensary at 92nd Street and Lexington Avenue on siting grounds. We feel that the siting criteria propounded by the Office of Cannabis Management are inadequate. The current application is a good illustration. The proposed dispensary is easily within 175 feet of the 92nd Street Y. Yet the 92nd Street Y's nursery school is disqualified as a location to be taken into account because it does not occupy the entire building of the Y. In addition, the 92nd Street Y has many other school programs for children and teenagers. Yet all such programs are ignored and deemed not to exist from the point of view of locating the cannabis dispensary. A further weakness of the siting criteria is that while the distance of 500 feet for a school sounds reasonable, there is a concurrent requirement that both locations of the dispensary and the school in question be located on the same street or avenue. Thus, a situation where dispensary is locates just a few feet around the corner from a school is permitted under the current criteria. We hope these considerations will be taken into account in this evening's discussion of this proposal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next is Markel Bababikov, followed by Dr. Jeffrey German in person. So if you want to start making it.
Markel, look for a prompt on your screen to unmute.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Markel Balabekov. I, along with my brother, are the partners behind the Herbal Care. We stand in front of you today to ask you for a vote of confidence to become stakeholders in your neighborhood, to be the first recreational dispensary in the Upper East Side, legal recreational dispensary. I would like to take a couple minutes to share a few words in what I think will help the Upper East Side. At the Herbal Care, we have a goal to serve the needs of our stakeholders. We plan on serving the needs of our clients by providing top-level multi-security for a safe shopping environment and only the best New York-sourced lab-tested products. Help support the legal market. Let us give the community another option, a legal option, a safe option. The illicit market now has control of the industry. The only way we change that is by allowing a licensed dispensary in the neighborhood. OCM told me personally that once we open up in a certain area, the shops in that area, they will do everything in their power to shut them down. We do not sell to kids. We do not sell to children. We will not be open in odd hours. We will not be doing abrupt marketing tactics, giving out flyers. You won't be able to see through our windows. By allowing a licensed dispensary in your neighborhood, you're supporting the legal cannabis market. I'd like to close by saying a few things about myself and my brother. We come from humble beginnings. Like most people in our state, our family immigrated here with just the clothes on their back. We share your morals, we share your values. We just want to ask the neighborhood that we want to tell the neighborhood that we promise to do everything to uphold the respect and prestige that the Upper East Side is. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Dr. Jeffrey Dredden.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak before you all tonight. My name is Jeff Dredden, and I'm the chair of the Department of Surgery and the acting hospital president at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, where I oversee our faculty providing the very best cancer care. Over the past few months, Community Board 8 has graciously provided their time and knowledge as we explained the necessity of the proposed MSK Pavilion. I want to sincerely thank Community Board 8 for hosting these thoughtful and productive discussions, and I hope you found them as valuable as we did. I also want to take the time tonight to say thank you to the task force members and other community members who've offered their perspectives and thoughts on the project. We have heard you, and your input has made our project better. As we continue to move through the ULURP process, we look forward to continued discussions with the community board and community at large following the formal filing of our ULURP application later this year. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you. And thank you very much for participating in the task force. We appreciate it. Next is Judy Schneider.
Hi, everyone. I'm speaking tonight as a member of the East 60 Neighborhood Association. And we've done these flyers. If anybody would like to have one, we'll be glad to give it to you, to post in your building. And it's for the Bentley Hotel, which I think most of you know have immigrants there now. And they only have the clothes. They came with the clothes on their back. They have very little. So they're looking for from newborn to 18 years old and adults. New unused underwear, sneakers, toiletry, diapers, clothing, new or gently used. Please leave your greatly appreciated donations at the Bentley Hotel reception desk, 500 East 62nd Street. That's at the corner of York Avenue, in case anybody doesn't know. And that's weekdays between 9 and 5. If there isn't someone at the desk, they'll direct you to someone who will take your donations. If anyone would like a flyer, I'll circulate them. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that is it for the public session. So we're going to move to the next item, which is adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to do that? Second. Second. Anyone opposed? Thank you. Next, adoption of last meeting's minutes. Anyone opposed? Thank you. All right, let's move now to the Borough President's report. And Tricia in the morning.
Hi, everybody. So first and foremost, I'm bringing you greetings tonight from the Manhattan Borough President, Mark Levine. But every day, not just 9 to 5, you know this very well, that I am at the end of the day, a very proud Upper East Sider, resident of 72nd and 1st. and a long time member of Community Board 8. So coming here tonight is very special, and I took the opportunity that Nina is out on well-deserved time off, to come by and, to give you a couple of updates. Also, a couple presents for anybody who sits in the first couple of rows. That's on behalf of Mark Levine, and coming back. So a couple more, notes here. First, happy birthday, Will Brightbill. Sorry. Second, not to embarrass her too much, but congratulations, Sarah Chu, on a major academic achievements. Sarah.
I got my doctorate. Or what's the doctorate in criminal justice?
I'm very happy to give the floor to Sarah at any time. But I've seen Bella grow up, and Sarah's been working on her doctorate for I don't know how many years, but a lot. So we're very proud of you, and congratulations again. Just a couple of notes. If Judy Birdie is still on, the Manhattan Borough President's Office did also sign on to a letter with Community Board 8 calling on REOC to help with the ramp issue at Kohler Hospital. Judy could not have set me up better to talk about public restrooms. We do believe very strongly that we should have public restrooms throughout the borough. And in fact, we just introduced a couple more pieces of legislation trying to move our city in that direction. It's something that's very much a passion project for everybody in the office, including Mark. So you should come talk to me, come talk to Mina. Anybody really can tell you more about that, about public restrooms and where we're going from there. Speaking of passion projects, and I know that some of you, heads up, Lori, Lindsay, others may be interested in AI. And if you want to be stuck in a very long conversation with elected official, just bring up AI to Mark Levine and he will talk your ear off about it. So much so that he has put out a report on the future of AI, looking at its potential benefits, its potential things that we should be wary of, looking at how it could be applied in different industries. I really encourage you to take a look at our website. Let us know what you think. There's a way for you to engage with us, give us your thoughts, but also would love to see it maybe eventually your technology committee taking this up, looking again at how this applications in the future. A few more notes here, and I'm going to swing back and talk about those bags. So those bags are not only just for anybody here tonight, not just community board members, but it comes with a little bit of an ask. We have just started, if you haven't noticed, there's a million events going on all throughout the borough, all throughout the city over the summertime. It's a really great opportunity for us to start to engage with other members of the public besides our incredible community board members. So throughout the summer, you're going to see us at street fairs, at community resources, at parks, at other CSAs, at green markets, all the different ways that communities gather together. That's where we're going to be. And in order to really extend our reach, we need your help. I'm asking for you to volunteer your time with Team Levine. It's something that is a little new, but in order to be in all these places around the borough, we would love to have ambassadors from our office going out and helping us engage, helping us give away free stuff, talk to people, tell them about their community boards, tell them about ways that they can serve their neighborhoods. So if you are at all interested, if you would rather stay indoors in a nice air-conditioned facility, then great, I'll take your time because you can help me stuff bags. If you are ready and able and willing to join us on the streets in a hot summer day, then I will take that time as well. So please take a look at our website at the very top of manhattanbp.nyc.gov. You'll see a big sign that says Team Levine needs you or something like that. Please sign up. Let us know if you have a couple of days free. We'll gladly take that time. Otherwise, I just want to say that it's wonderful to see you all in person. There's a lot more that everybody has talked about. Oh, Charles, by the way, you should reach out to my office and we can connect with our land use team to see if anything's happening on 90th Street, if he's still on. But you all know where to reach me. You all know where to see me at the grocery store where I drop my kids off. We're here for you. We're looking forward to continuing to work with you. And finally, I just want to call attention to that very nice girl who's sitting out there. Her name is Bracha, and she is one of our newest staffers on the community affairs unit. So please be nice to her. Mina's still your #1 rep, but she's learning the ropes and she'll be joining our team. So I'm glad she's here tonight to see my home board. So thank you guys so much.
Welcome, Bracha. Okay, so we will now go to the elected officials reports. So for the folks who are in person, if you want to just line up at the mic, and if you are on Zoom, please raise your hand. And you will have your 2 minutes and we will start with Anna Wiener. Anna, I said Anna.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Good job.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hannah Wienerman from Congressman Jerry Nather's office. I'm sorry that I couldn't be with you in person, but I look forward to participating in the next meeting in person. So after a decade-long battle to get Congressman Nather's Pregnant Workers Fairness Act bill to the president's desk, the law finally went into effect on June 27th. What this means is that this historic legislation provides every pregnant, postpartum, and nursing worker with the legal protections and accommodations they need during their pregnancy through the postpartum period, including some time to recover. This is a long fought battle that Congressman Nather has been fighting, almost 12 years, and we are really excited that it's being implemented now. Non-essential tourism and commuter helicopters continue to be a quality of life issue for New York residents. In this year's FAA reauthorization that's actually currently being debated on the House floor, Congressman Nather is sponsoring 4 amendments and co-leading over a dozen others, which would include requiring the GAO to conduct a study on helicopter noise in the New York City metropolitan area, working with local stakeholders to develop a more comprehensive noise complaint system, and requiring the FAA to work with New Jersey and New York to create a new air tour management plan for non-essential helicopters that improves safety and reduces noise within 2 years of enactment. Lastly, Congressman Nather co-led a letter with Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and the New York City congressional delegation to FEMA supporting the city's application for a $104 million grant award under the U.S. Department of Homeland Security Shelter and Services Program. This would provide life-sustaining resources to asylum seekers, including the costs associated with the city's sheltering of asylum seekers and related activities. If you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to our office at nather.house.gov or at 212-367-7350. Take care.
Thank you. And then we'll go to in-person folks.
Hi, everyone. My name is Julia Mayanza. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Alvin Bragg. I'm really happy to see you all in person. And I'm excited to tell you about a few announcements from our office. First, we recently announced the resolution of an investigation of the owner of 11 illegal smoke shops who will have to pay over $400,000 in restitution and in illegal earnings from that illegal product. And those 11 stores can no longer sell cannabis. They'll be regularly inspected. And that includes 5 stores on the Upper West Side and 1 store on the Upper East Side. It's part of our larger strategy to target landlords as a way to target illicit cannabis sales. We all know that this includes selling to minors products that aren't tested. And it includes a lot of dangers that we don't want to see are not good for public safety. So we've targeted a preliminary group of 50 landlords. And we are seeing evictions of smoke shops through targeting of that group. So we're continuing that work. We also are going to be at National Night Out August 1st at every precinct. I will be at the 19th precinct going between the west side and the east side. I hope to see you there. We'll have merch, we'll have resources from our office, and we look forward to hearing from you about your public safety concerns. And I always enjoy hearing your public safety concerns, hearing about what's happening on the Upper East Side. So thank you for having me. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Audrey from State Senator Liz Kruger's office. It's wonderful to really see you all face to face, and we'll talk about a birthday party. In person, virtual, I mean, can you have a better experience? Anyway, happy birthday. We are obviously in between sessions, but know that we're in the office. We're handling constituent issues. We're out there doing advocacy. Liz is planning now for next session. She has a lot of pieces of legislation that she wants to introduce and that she also wants to tweak that didn't get through the Assembly and the Senate this year. Also, there's one piece of legislation, as you know, the governor has till December 31st to sign pieces of legislation. And there is one piece of legislation among the many that we still hope get signed. There's one in particular that can I just mention?
Yeah,
the forestation bill. This is, and you all remember the blood red sky we saw a few weeks ago. Climate change and deforestation are contributing to these kind of forest fires. So Liz's piece of legislation, which you passed both houses, is to make sure that in New York State, nobody contracts with any company that does deforestation. And so we hope the governor will sign this, and if you care about the others, we hope she signs, just call our office. Thanks a lot. Have a good meeting. Happy birthday, Will.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Will.
Next is James Giuliano.
James, go ahead and unmute.
Thanks so much, and happy birthday to everyone, apparently. Happy July, everyone. I'm James Giuliano. I'm the district director for Assemblymember Alex Boris. Couple quick updates, really one long update. If any of you saw the TMRB meeting today, you know, as has been mentioned on the meeting, that congestion pricing is coming. The Assembly member has written a letter that will be addressed to the Traffic Mobility Review Board. Many of our other local elected Manhattan officials have signed on to it. It will be revealed tomorrow. But a couple highlights from the letter that are essentially making recommendations, suggesting things we want to see from this board, which is in charge of the tolls. Strong emphasis on excluding credits for tunnel and bridge travel into Manhattan. We feel like MTA officials have publicly expressed considering exemptions from fees for those who are entering via tunnels or bridges. You know, we think first and foremost, out-of-state politicians shouldn't be deciding who's paying tolls for our program, and that kind of defeats the purpose of aiming to reduce congestion. Another point of emphasis, we are looking for significantly discounted personal vehicle tolls on weekends and holidays. The Assembly members pointing out that our transit system is designed to get people to and from work during weekdays and is not quite as helpful for people visiting houses of worship, going to Little League Field, other various weekend destinations. And the whole point is to reduce congestion during work days anyway, not necessarily on holidays and weekends. A final point of emphasis is to explicitly identify which MTA improvements are going to be funded by the money that is going to be raised through congestion pricing. And if anybody listened to the TMRB meeting that just occurred, that information was not exactly forthcoming. So that is definitely something we're looking for. So that was just one long update, but I know it's very important to everyone, and the letter will be available tomorrow. Thanks.
Thank you. Next is Summer Bedford, please.
Hi, everybody. My name is Summer. I am from State Senator Serrano's office. I don't have much to update you on this month as we are in between sessions at the moment. Senator Serrano has been in the district. He's been fairly busy meeting with different community organizations and individuals. If you see us out at any events, feel free to come up and say hi. Our next offsite constituent hours is going to be next Wednesday, the 26th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that will be at Carver Houses on 102nd. And as always, you can stop by our office at 100th and 1st, or give us a call at any time at 212-828-5829. And I will put our information down in the chat as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Harry Gale.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. For those that don't know me, my name is Harry Gale, and I'm a community liaison at Councilmember Julie Menin's office. I know many of you are used to my former colleague, Karen Kaufman, coming on these meetings. Unfortunately, he's left our office to go into the private sector, but I've been lucky enough to learn a lot from him in the past year and a half, and I'm so excited to work with all of you moving forward. So very quickly, the Councilmember Menin, along with her colleague, Councilmember Powers, is very proud to have brought $35 million into our district to fund parks, schools, libraries, hospitals, community centers, public housing, and our streets. This includes $2.78 million for Carl Schurz Park. At least $50,000 will be given to each of our schools for technology upgrade, and many more upgrades to our schools beyond that. $2.2 million for lighting, courts, and playground upgrades for 24 Sycamore Park. As well as $350,000 for the Crosstown 79 bus lane improvements, $950,000 in capital improvements to NYC H&H Kohler Hospital in Roosevelt Island to modernize their nursing station and renovate the third floor atrium. We're very proud to be funding our local nonprofits and CBOs and many other initiatives I don't have time to get to today. We also were very saddened by the incident that occurred a couple days ago at the 86th Street and Lexington subway stop, and us along with our colleague Councilman Powers' office are proud to co-write a letter to the NYPD calling on additional resources for increased foot patrols in and around the station. We are very proud to have our new composting bins in and around the district. And please let me know if you need curb your dog signs. We still have 80 of those left, and I'll be adding my information to the chat. Great to meet you all.
Thank you. So that concludes the elected official reports. So we're going to move now to the chair's report. So first, I just want to talk about attendance. We have a bunch of people here in person. We have quorum, but there is certainly room for improvement. So I just want to reiterate for everybody that in-person attendance is mandatory and expected. It's required under the open meetings law, again, unless you have one of the particular exceptions laid out in the open meetings law and in our resolution on that. So, as the summer draws to a close later on this year and we're back to the fall and people's travel ends and all of that kind of stuff. And as we now are sort of used to being back in person and we're not taken by surprise with the fact that the suspension of the open meetings law has ended, I trust that we will have better attendance here in person. And so I just want to make sure that that's an expectation that everybody understands. I have reminded folks here numerous times, and I'll say it again, I think, in the interest of getting us all through our business and out of here in a timely manner, I just encourage folks to be brief in their remarks. I think that actually tends to be more persuasive if you can actually be pithy and to the point. I think people are going to appreciate that and recognize that. And I think you'll actually be more persuasive that way. And certainly I encourage folks to really listen to what others are saying. And if somebody makes the point you were planning to make, please don't repeat them because all of this is in the interest of, we're all volunteers here. We all have to, or most of us have to work tomorrow. So let's not make the meeting longer than it needs to be. Related to that also, just a reminder, it's always in order if there are multiple unanimous resolutions in a committee report to move to take them all together, which is a nice way to help move the agenda. I want to provide a reminder here, just that particularly now that we're back in person, very, very important that all board members and really everybody participating in the meeting, that we all treat one another with civility and with respect. And, sometimes we deal with some weighty issues here, and it's things that people have very strong opinions about in many cases. But fundamentally, it's important to treat your fellow board members and members of the public, again, with civility and respect and collegiality. And that too is an expectation and mandatory under our code of conduct that we adopted. For new members, this is the I know folks were at the full board meeting and land use meeting that we had in June and the land use meeting last week, but this is your first full board meeting in person or quasi in person. So I just want to welcome you again. And again, as I've said in the past, you guys who are new, you are as much a board member as somebody who's been on the board for 40 years. So, don't be shy, don't repeat what somebody else has said, as I've said, but if you have something to say, you can say it. So don't feel like you have to pay your dues or something like that before you're allowed to speak in these meetings, because you're a full member just like everybody else. And the last thing is I'll just join the chorus here and say happy birthday to Will Bright. And with that, I'll turn it over to Will for his district manager's report.
I did not prepare a very long district manager report. Other than I'll just say thank you for everybody who said very nice things and gave me cookies. And that everybody should have a wonderful August and a peaceful, break between community board meetings.
Excellent. All right, let's go now to the committee reports, and we are going to start with the MSK Pavilion Task Force, Anthony and Felice.
So I'll kick it off and then Anthony, jump in if you don't mind, since I'm coming here in person. MSK came before the community board for 5 separate sessions, the MSK task force to go through various elements of their zoning application. They are starting the ULURP process, so the review is not, or the resolution is not the formal ULURP application, but rather the recommendations of items that we would like to see in the final proposal. MSK, for those who are not following, have not followed it, is proposing to build on a site they currently own. It's currently on York Avenue between 66 and 67th Street. There are two MSK owned apartment buildings there, the Sloan and Scholars House, that they would be demolishing. And in its place, build a new cancer facility that would house 28 operating rooms and I believe 200, I may have that number slightly wrong, 200 patient rooms. It is connected to their it will be connected to their existing pavilion and be considered part of their interconnected facility. The proposal to build a pedestrian sky bridge that would connect their existing facility with this new building. It is a continuation they have presented as part of a 2001 land use application that was started and then delayed because of 9/11 that had impacted it. They went forward with one aspect of the development, and this is part two for their development for building a larger campus facility. The meetings went through their extensive information about the growth of cancer and the need for an expanded facility to meet those demands, both on the terms of the incoming patients as well as the new technology to meet those needs. So the maximum height of the building envelope would be no more than 594 feet. There are a variety of zoning changes that they need to allow all of their allowable square footage to be in this one location, to allow certain lighting of kiosks to indicate where you enter the building, to have curb cuts, and a variety of elements like that. It basically is 6, I believe, different zoning changes that they are going for, along with revocable consent to build the sky bridge. So the task force recommended a number of things that could be considered in their zoning application, replacement of the housing that will be lost, a design that meets the needs of the patients and a lower profile structure if possible, to meet the highest standards of carbon neutrality, to build it using union labor, both for on-site and off-site fabrication, design of the exterior of the building that does not reflect light onto surrounding community residences and parks, highest levels of noise mitigation, dust control, pest control, adequate lighting around the construction fence to ensure that it's safe, artwork on the fence, noise mitigation that's coordinated with the school, maximum use of greenery, work to mitigate the traffic backup in the parking garage, monthly meetings with the community and residences to get feedback, an emergency phone number, and then, suggestions on things that they have to pay attention to in the traffic studies. They still have to complete the EIS. And that includes looking at drop off on York Avenue, queuing for parking on York Avenue, traffic headed to and from the FDR Drive, garage capacity at the pavilion and the surrounding neighborhood, and of course, possible effects of congestion pricing on this project. Looking at shadow studies and mitigating the impact. And then an appropriate aesthetic solution for the sky bridge. So the task force members who had attended at least 2 of the meetings were authorized to vote, and all except 1 approved it, and there was 1 abstention. And so that is where we stand with that resolution.
Excuse me. Thank you, Felice. You said it all. I think the only thing that I would want to add is that this is a great model of a process for a large development, because no matter how much or how little of or how many of our suggestions MSK ultimately takes as they work through their ULURP process, the purpose of these meetings was for us, for the community and the community board, to express their concerns, point out issues that are of particular importance to us, to help as much as we can shape the actual physical application that comes out of the EIS. So anyway, that was what we did, and I guess we should open for comments, questions by board members, unless there are none. I need to see Michelle, also on Zoom. I think we have to unmute her.
No. Anthony, can you hear us in person?
I'm sorry, it's Michelle Birnbaum, who is on also on Zoom and has her hand up and needs to be unmuted.
But Marco, maybe you can take the mic, maybe folks can hear you.
Just
Here, just come to the, come to the.
Go to that one. So.
I was saying that thank you so much, MSK, for engaging with the
microphone.
Is it on?
And then is the green light on?
I think it's on.
You have to see about right into the mic.
Hello? No, I think it doesn't work. It's great. No, big brother. How loud?
Yeah, all right, that's
Okay.
something.
I was saying, thank you so much, MSK, for engaging with the community. Thank you for the presentation. I think it was a very good exercise, and I think it definitely is a good model to any developments in our community. I have to say that I abstained this proposal because I found that it's premature and incomplete. First, the applicant didn't finish the cladding of the building. I was asking many questions about the cladding. Maybe the cladding is something the ego of the designer 10 times bigger of the Freedom Tower that he doesn't want to show us. Whatever it is, but it was never presented to us. And the second one is, counselor, you want to illuminated kiosks? You can have 4. I'm support that. Counselor, you want to have 3 car cuts? You can have 6. I don't have no problem with this one. And you had the bridge connection, you can have 2. That's no problem at all. I think it's reasonable what you're asking. So the issue right here is that I didn't hear no answer from the MSK is the traffic. The neighbors complain really that there are even fist fights on the streets because of the traffic. The third, usually in order to make a good judgment, I really need to see the environmental reports. And then I will make a decision, because the technicians, it will explain to us what is their opinion and what is probably the solution, if there are any. And finally, I will say that my biggest concern also, something that's doable, is the sustainability of the project. Right now, you see 16 days with a hot record in the country that we had to do something. And the MSK can do that. And MSK can also create a good quality of air, not only for the neighborhood, but also for the patients. He mentioned, I asked the question, what kind of quality of air you want for the patient? You said, good, I absolutely agree with you and you're right. So the designer probably have another intentions for you. Maybe you don't understand that part. And that's what I have been asking all the time, this question. And this is why I abstain. Thank you.
And if I could just add, this is not a vote on the ULURP application. MSK will have to come back to the board with a formal request for approval. This is the recommendations for consideration. Jane was next.
I wanted to call the question, but I thought Michelle had a second.
There's other, okay, I'll leave it to you guys.
I guess Michelle, since Anthony called on Michelle, and then we can go to.
I think she said.
He gave a thumbs up, so.
Oh, she wants to call a question. Okay.
Yeah, I was.
Okay. All right, you're calling.
Is anyone opposed to calling a question? Great. And anyone on Zoom opposed to calling a question, raise your hand if you're opposed. Okay, so I would say let's go to this.
And a reminder to everybody on Zoom, you need to have your video on to be considered present right now while they're being voted, while you're voting.
And always.
And always, yes. And always.
I was about to start with the original spiel of the, if you're not, but anyway, I have to call your names. If I pronounce them wrong, just correct me. So, Anderson, I'm doing it by last name, by the way. Anderson. Ooh. Yes, yes,
Yes.
great. Angelos.
Yes.
Ashby,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Bear Michaels,
Yes.
Birnbaum,
Oh, sorry. That's on me.
Yes, I was muted. Yes, I support the resolution.
Just yes and no.
Torres,
Yes.
Guerrero. It's a pass right now. Brown.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you. Cam?
Yes.
Two.
Pass.
Cone,
Yes.
Yes.
Is it just me or are we unable to hear anything that's happening? in the room?
No, we can't hear anything.
Nope, nothing.
So I said yes.
We got your.
Yes.
We got
yeah,
your.
we got, all right, we'll figure out the virtual stuff in a second. Rose?
Deliberately breaking rules. MSK, this will only be.
No, you just have to vote. Elizabeth, you have to just vote. Elizabeth, you just have to vote.
Rudder?
Yes.
Salcido? Sanchez?
Yeah.
Schneider?
Yes.
Seligson?
Yes.
Spagnoletti?
Yes.
Squire?
Yes.
Tamayo?
Abstain.
Wald?
Yes.
Warren?
Yes.
Wiener? Virtual hear us.
Yes, they can now. So who all do we need to go back to on
We
that?
need to go to Barrera, she's here. Chute, I know you passed.
No.
No. Freeland,
Yes.
Hershenson.
Yes.
And that might be it. Salcedo's not here. Did I get everyone?
Sherry Wiener's, yes.
Thank you. All right, so the resolution passes.
Yeah,
Can you just tell me what is the ULURP, when are they coming back for the ULURP? I'm trying to understand the purpose of the resolution in terms of, are they gonna come?
They are gonna come back.
I understand what we said about recommendations, and these are recommendations, but are they gonna come back before the ULURP on the recommendations, or we're gonna see whether they incorporated them when the ULURP begins?
it's the latter. So the hope is that they will incorporate these into the actual ULURP proposal that we receive as part of the formal ULURP process. So they've given us essentially a sort of pre-look to give us the chance to make these recommendations and hopefully incorporate them.
And when do you think these will be?
The fall.
Yeah, we already voted. These are just questions, but yeah, Adam, go ahead.
The correction I thought we made at the last meeting, I guess, didn't make it into the text. Was that their own information was 355 units, not 300 units.
I think we needed clarification because it's, I went back and looked at all the minutes and they were different at every single one. So if you could just get us clarification on the exact number of
Their
units.
presentation said 355. If
I
we
thought
had
it said 255 actually.
355,
355.
they came back and told us.
I think the resolution is written means we want all of the units replaced, so I think that message goes through. This is another point of information. We have to. Before the end of the year.
Yes, I just want to clarify, you have 9 yeses, my name, and 1 abstention, my name again. It should be just only.
Okay, we'll correct that. I would say any other corrections in the minutes, why don't you just talk to us
Thank you.
offline? We're gonna move to the next committee report, and thank you guys. I would say for the voting, can we just, for the people who are gonna be voting on Zoom, let's just unmute. all.
I tried.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say for the folks on Zoom, just, we're gonna unmute you all for the voting, but just wait until your name is called, and then when you hear your name, you'll. And so with that, next is the Transportation Committee report with Greg and Chad.
Hi, everybody. Chuck Warren and Greg Later. We have 6 resolutions, 3 of which were unanimous. We can discuss those first and see what people want to do. And the ones that were unanimous,
We've also unanimous, I just labeling.
but we had some people on 2 against it.
No, I think we had everyone on 2, 4, that was
Okay,
2,
so
3, 4, and
2,
5.
3, 4, and 5, okay. All right, so why don't, I was gonna do 3, 4, and 5, but if you want to start with 2, the run.
Sure. Wait. Yeah.
Can I make a motion to take? You don't really have to do that, you know, we'll do it, why don't we discuss and we'll call the question on all 3, you can do that.
He just wants to introduce it.
Move it along. No, I don't understand, but
3 or 4.
I don't want to get into a long step, but you don't have to do that, you could just call, it's on. the
Well, that's what he
floor.
wants to do. Can you just do it? Do you guys feel strongly about presenting them? Do you mind if he just calls a question on it?
No, I'd like to give a short presentation, that's all.
Okay, all right, okay.
It won't be long.
All right,
guarantee.
okay.
We'll be.
Go ahead.
Item 2 is just an application to utilize a tourism bus stop outside the Met at Fifth Avenue between 83rd and 84th Street. It's basically just a continuation of the prior service that this new company, Durham Tours, purchased. So they are not doing anything different than what was done before. It was an existing bus stop that was used for the same purpose. It's used by a different tourism company. There's no conflict between the 2 different bus routes in terms of the operations. They're not doing anything on the streets. Just food drop off and pickups. They do online ticketing, so there's not gonna be any other type of extraneous activity they go there. I believe it was 5 routes or 5 times during the day, they'll be doing
Yeah, okay. All right, three was the request by the Surrey Hotel at the 20 East 76th Street for extending the loading zone in front of the hotel. They already have a loading zone, they just want to make it to the rest of their building. It's like a 30-foot extension. This is the hotel's been refurbished and they're reopening it. It's going to be very nice, and we unanimously saying that this made a lot of sense. It's like one parking space, and so that was that. The next was the revocable consent application for 112 East 75th Street, Temple Israel. They have some electric conduit, 3 of them, that are being put from the temple underneath the ground to the tree pits, which are being enlarged after discussions with the park department, so they need additional lighting. And that was something that, again, they need a revocable consent in Janice. And then the next one was Andrew Fine, that was number 5, request to add street cleaning regulations along Lexington Avenue from 96 to 59th Street. What happened was during the pandemic, a lot of that was taken away and those streets never get cleaned like they do on Third Avenue. And so we passed a resolution and said, hey, it will be probably a 30-minute period and do that so we can start cleaning the street. So that's beautiful.
Yeah, I stand corrected, I was not unanimous. I corrected my notes and when I summarized, I thought that was not unanimous.
So
let's skip that.
Let's skip that one and just do 3, 4, and 5. And if anyone would like to call a question. on
Yes,
it.
I'd like to call the question for the 3 unanimous,
Consent, is there a second?
Thank you.
4 that you presented, not 3.
Right, so not the first one that I.
No, 3, 4, and 5.
3, 4, and 5, not 2. Okay.
Does everyone understand what we're saying? Does everyone understand?
Can we call the roll on items 3, 4, and 5 that were unanimous?
And can we ask to move it along if there, can we just ask?
Oh, yeah, so this is what we did at the last, the land use committee meeting. So for items that are unanimous, we're not going to go through the whole roll call. So is there anybody who's opposed to these resolutions? Yes, okay, so we'll do a roll call.
Okay, Anderson.
You need to pass one out. Is there one in particular you want to?
Yes, I would vote against item 3.
Why don't we do 4 and 5?
So why don't we do 4 and 5? Anyone opposed to 4 and 5?
Let's do 4 and 5.
Point of information.
Yeah.
Every 4 or 5, we have to go back to 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
And do it, so we're doing the roll call.
So we're voting on 4 and 5, then we're going to do a roll call vote on number 3. So right now, we're only voting on 4 and 5.
Okay.
So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay.
None on Zoom.
Okay, great.
Now we're going on 3.
All right, so starting with the roll, Anderson.
Yes.
Angelos.
Yeah.
Ashby,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Bear Michaels.
Yes.
Birnbaum,
Yes.
Boris,
Yes.
Barrer's not here,
No.
right? Brown,
Yes.
Camp,
Yes.
Chu,
No.
Cone,
Yes.
Cormac,
Yes.
Dangor,
Yes.
Barber,
Yes.
Freeland,
Yes.
Hartzog,
Yes.
Christensen, I'll come back.
Yes.
Halpern. Great, thank you. Halpern,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Prickler,
Yes.
Later,
Yes.
Lev, yes. Mason,
Yes.
McClement,
Yes.
Meyerson,
Yes.
Mossman,
Yes.
Partial,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Pope Marshall,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Rose,
No.
Rudder,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Seligson,
Yes.
Spagnoletti,
Yes.
Squire,
Yes.
Tamayo,
Yes.
Wald,
Yes.
Warren,
Yes.
Weiner.
He's all.
Right there.
Sounds right there.
Yeah, the thumbs
Saying
up.
yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Choose a thumbs up. Is that-
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Great. That's it.
You okay?
Yep.
Let's do two, since Craig already discussed that. Is there anyone else, someone wants to comment on two here?
Call the question.
Call the question.
Second.
All in favor of calling question? Okay.
Anyone opposed?
Okay, and was there anyone opposed to, item number 2?
Yes.
Okay,
Opposed to calling the question?
No, opposed to the, no, we have to do the roll call.
yeah, Anderson,
Pass and come back.
sure. Angelos.
Yeah.
Ashby,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Bear Michaels. Yes. Birnbaum,
Sorry, I have to clarify. It's very, very difficult to hear you. Are you on item number 2, which is the bus stop?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you point out that?
Was that a yes?
Yeah.
We are
on item 2, through our tours.
Okay, so no.
Boris,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Camp,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Cone,
Yes.
Cormac,
Yes.
Dangor. Yes. Barber, I'm a yes. Freeland,
Yes.
Hartog,
Yes.
Parsonson,
Yes.
Halpern,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Crickler,
Yeah.
Later,
Yes.
Lev,
Yes.
Mason,
No.
McClement,
Yes.
Meyerson,
Yes.
Mossman,
Yes.
Partial,
Yeah.
Rose, yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Phillips,
Yes.
Pope Marshall,
Yes.
Popper,
Yes.
Price.
Yeah.
You. Rose,
Yes.
Rudder,
Yes.
Rudder,
Yes. You hear me?
yeah, no, I'm just having, issues. Sanchez,
Yeah.
Schneider,
Yes.
Seligson.
Yes.
Spagnoletti,
Yes.
Squire,
Yes.
Tamayo,
No.
Wald,
Yes.
Warren,
Yes.
Weiner,
Yes.
and the vote passes 38-3.
Now I'm gonna throw Craig under the bus, he'll be number 1.
Oh, sorry, going back to Anderson who passed.
Yes.
Thank you.
He's throwing me under the bus because we're going to be voting to whether to oppose bus shelters, so. That was a bad joke, I guess. Anywho, so this item, if you heard Matt Bauer speak before, he eloquently explained it, but essentially this is coming out of a public hearing that was held to essentially amend and extend the existing agreement between the New York City Department of Transportation and JC Deco Street Furniture. And within that, it includes about 6 locations along Madison Avenue between 59th Street and 72nd Street in which bus shelters are proposed. I think you heard what the reasons that those who opposed the resolution did. The flip side of it, because it was not a unanimous vote, was that there were those who believed that there should be bus shelters provided everywhere or in most locations, and that we should be prioritizing the needs of the business owners of and along Madison Avenue over the needs of bus users. So that's essentially the short abbreviated version of it. Judy.
Question about what Matt said in the public session. Did I understand him correctly? That even with the smaller bus shelter they're proposing, there will not be an 8-foot clearance between the bus shelter and the store?
That is what he said.
Is that correct?
Well, Madison Avenue, I don't recall the width of the sidewalk on Madison Avenue. I think it would result, no matter what type of bus shelter you have, that if they're probably, that I would assume that's the case. I have no reason to doubt that. But they do have, it is using a narrower design, which has not been, I guess, approved yet by the LPC or brought before the LPC yet. But they have attempted to mitigate that, but I'm not sure that it fully mitigates and meets the 8-foot requirements.
But still, an 8-foot clearance is usually what we require for the sidewalks, cafes,
Right.
et cetera. So was there someone there from the bus shelter? Wouldn't they know that?
Now, we didn't have anyone there from JC to cover.
So there's no way of knowing whether that's accurate or not.
I can't say anything definitively, sorry.
Thank you.
Sarah.
So I didn't attend the hearing, but I've been reading up on the minutes and I'm looking into this, and what my view is that it's not that we're privileging shop owners, it's that we're privileging the advertisers on these bus shelters over the community, over the people who need accessible sidewalks, over the businesses, and over the historic district. There's no reason why why these bus shelters should be approved without going to the LPC. And if anything, the LPC can assist with design features that maybe can tamp down some of the concerns that people have had about the impact of the historic district and the impact of the business. And so I would support this resolution, because I don't think this is so much about the bus shelters, because there's this insistence to add the flashing advertising on the bus shelters. I think this is about expanding square footage for advertising, and I don't want to sell my community out for that.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Gail?
A couple of points. The Madison Avenue bid has measured the streets.
Louder, please.
The Madison Avenue bid has measured the streets, and the clearance in many cases will not be the 8 feet, because some of the streets themselves are only 10 feet, 11 feet wide. Also, the bus stop shelters are going to be much more narrow. They're not going to provide the same type of coverage in case of rain or inclement weather. So I think for those reasons, along with everything else that's been stated, I would hope that my fellow board members would support the resolution.
I think we should absolutely have bus shelters. I think people, myself included, when I wait for a bus, I love having so much of shelter from the way whatever side that is. I like to sit down and wait as well. So if people have shopping, they have kids, people are tired. It's different so much to sit and waiting for a bus. A bus is going to come every 3 minutes, like people are buses, it can take 10, 15 minutes sometimes.
I appreciate that. There's one other point. The shelters, actually, the revenue that's raised from the advertising will go to other parts of the city, not to our district, other than the 6 shelters that might be in Madison Avenue, that being done because elsewhere they haven't been able to raise those dollars. So it's not that most of it is coming back to the district.
If I could finish my point, I said about also was, I don't think providing bus shelters somewhere to sit to be tied to who gets the money for it. The way I look at this, we get the bus shelter paid for because we're now advertising, and it's great, we get bus shelters we wouldn't have got otherwise. I don't think it matters where the money goes to in the city, not in our district. We're getting the bus shelter for the money.
All the questions.
And this is a no vote. It's a-
We call,
Right, this is-
we call the roll.
Yeah, the yes means,
Right, resolution is to disapprove the bus shelters. So yes means no to the
Right.
shelters.
All righty, Anderson,
yes.
Angelos,
No.
Ashby,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Bear Michaels,
No.
Birnbaum. Birnbaum.
Sorry, yes.
No worries.
Yes. God.
Boris,
Don't need to tell me, guys.
Abstain.
Brown,
I don't see her anymore.
all right, Camp,
Yes.
Chu,
Yes.
Cone,
Yes.
Cormac,
Yes.
Dangor, Farber,
No.
Freeland,
A no. No.
Hartzog,
Yes.
Kirshenson,
No.
Alpern,
Yes.
Johnson,
Pass.
Crickler,
No.
Later,
No.
Lev, no. Mason,
Yes.
McClement,
Yes.
Meyerson,
No.
Mossman,
No.
Partial,
Yes.
Pope Marshall,
But for clarification, a yes means a no?
yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes. Hopper.
Popper, sorry, Popper,
Yes.
thank you. Rose, yes, okay, great. Rudder,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Ian Schneider,
Yes.
Seligson,
No.
Spagnoletti,
Yes.
Squire,
Yes.
Tamayo,
Yes.
Wald,
Yes.
Warren,
No.
and Weiner.
Yes.
All right, so the resolution passes 27 to 12 to 1.
Let's go to item 6, which is talking about regulation.
Oh, Wilma, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry.
So it's 28 to 12.
Okay. Let's go to item 6, which has to do with the regulation of e-bikes and mopeds in the city. And we've had some discussion, there was some discussion in the public session. And I think people have heard why they're for it. And I think this was a very close discussion and vote of 7-6, because I think there was confusion between mopeds and e-bikes, and the law on mopeds is that you have to have a license, and they have to be registered. And there are there's classes of mopeds, but the mopeds are basically regulated in the way the e-bikes are not. And someone made that point, I think, in the session, and I know is there anybody? I don't know if there's anyone.
Two hands up there.
Oh, okay, let me see, Billy Freeland then, let me recognize Billy.
Hello, everybody. I would like to propose a substitute amendment and speak to it. And before I ask for a second, the amendment would keep this resolution as is, but it would remove the reference to e-bikes. So keeping the focus on mopeds, it would remove the be it resolved regarding Central Park. I think Andrew Fine is second. I think Andrew Fine is seconding. I see his hand up. Was it seconded? May I speak to it? I see Lori's hand. I'm not sure if we can hear you anymore in the room.
Billy, it was seconded and you can speak.
Okay, thank you, thank you. So, okay, thanks everybody. So this substitute resolution would, if you're looking at the text of it, it wouldn't change all that much, but I propose removing the reference to e-bikes. And I would propose taking that last "be it resolved" out. And here's why. I think this is obviously a very fraught issue. Everyone deserves to feel safe on our streets. No one disagrees with that. No one disagrees that there is absolutely an issue with how we share the space on our streets for all vehicles, not just these bikes. I think if we as a board, and we know how limited our power is, if we want to be effective on these issues, we need to be as targeted and tailored as possible. And we need to address probably the biggest risks on the streets. Since we're talking about bikes, I think one issue we've all identified is that mopeds, which are required to be registered and licensed with license plates that's under, class A, B, and C for these mopeds. Some of them are not, right? The focus should be on mopeds. Start there. And in terms of enforcement, I agree with the provision that says put the onus on the businesses and not just the restaurants, but as the resolution rightly points out, the delivery services. I would also add that this provision about Central Park is completely, it's just not germane to the resolution. But even if it were, I think it's short-sighted. For example, when I commute, I work on 6th Avenue near Rockefeller Center. If I want to go back to the Upper East Side, I take a subway usually, but we want to encourage alternative modes of transportation, right? I've as often as I can, gotten a city bike, pedal assist bike, especially in this heat. I don't want to be doing all the pedaling myself. And I've taken it up 6th Avenue into the park, had a wonderful ride around the loop, exited at either, 90th, 91st, or 85th or so. It's a great ride. I recommend it to everyone who would like to try it. And I think to discourage that, to say that that is illegal is short-sighted. It's not, I think, looking out for our climate. It's not looking out for alternative modes of transportation. It's not looking out, frankly, for people who just want to go and get a little bit of exercise in the park, because you do get some exercise on the Z-bikes. So that would be my proposal. And I hope it would earn support from anyone who'd like to actually see us have a focused approach to this issue rather than something that's sprawling and, frankly, in my opinion, not going to be heard by our elected officials or anyone. It just, in my view, with all due respect, will not be taken seriously otherwise. Thank you.
Alternate between here and there. Jane?
Billy, I have to disagree with you. I practically every day take a walk up to the reservoir. I go up to the drive at around 72nd Street and walk up the drive to the reservoir. I find that anything that's motorized, in our view, call it Central Park, has to be totally discouraged. Thank you.
Okay, let's then, who's on the?
Michelle, and then
Yeah,
Okay,
so thank you. So I'd like to be targeted and focused. A couple of things. If mopeds are already accounted for, to just limit this to mopeds serves no purpose. E-bikes function in much the same way, no matter what the classification is. So not to include them and not to ask for liability, accountability, is sort of very short-minded to me. The biking community, and it's not unique to the biking community, but all communities that have a vested interest in an issue typically do not vote to enforce themselves. So I don't think it's unusual that that's happening here. And the most important part of all of this is you will never have any accountability or enforcement for anything if you have no way to identify. As we discussed at our committee meeting, you can't identify somebody who's non-compliant and ask a policeman to go running after them because there's no way to identify them by license or anything else. If you really want compliance, they have to be identifiable. And if they're identifiable, then they can be held accountable. And if they're identifiable and accountable, they can have some liability. Otherwise, you cannot get what it is that you're looking for. I urge you all to support this resolution. Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
No, not this one.
Okay, let me go to Ed.
Thank you. So, Billy, to your point on the environment, lithium batteries, I will, like Jane, disagree with you on that. Lithium batteries are a problem for those of us in the environmental economic world because of the way in which they are made. Putting that aside, I agree wholeheartedly with what Michelle said. She is absolutely correct. This resolution is spot on. The lawlessness of these e-bikes is absolutely staggering to anyone who sees them. I was up on Lexington today on 94th. I mean, please, it is the Wild West. As George Costanza says, it's Thunderdome out there. And it is truly Thunderdome out there, and he's not even on the LIE. The point is, I would say and suggest to any council member, any candidate, any congressional candidate, I throw out to all of you that if you really want to raise revenue and have accountability, then write a piece of legislation in this city and down in Washington that cuts off highway funds to any municipality or state that does not have these regulations. And I would also encourage anybody who's running for city council or a member of the city council to introduce legislation that empowers members of the community to take photographs of these people who are violating the law and turn it into the NYPD, and to start doing what we need to do in terms of stopping this lawlessness, because otherwise the cops, they can't chase them down. It's the reason why they don't chase motorcycles down, because they're outgunned. The motorcycles can just run away. You see that happen all the time. So I opposed the amendment. I'm sorry, Billy, I'm for the original one, and that's my targeted comment.
Okay, Sharon, we're gonna go to Sharon, I know was next. We'll go to someone up there on the screen.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And I am very much against including e-bikes. And this, I think we need to step back and really think about what it is that we would want to accomplish, because it's not just about being punitive, it's also about being open to additional forms of transportation. And I think that if you were to include e-bikes, that would dampen the enthusiasm people might have for purchasing e-bikes, which is better for our climate. It's great for our city to have this type of activity on our streets. And I think it's also important to note that I own a car as well as 2 bikes. And it's very important that people are able to avail themselves and use different modalities, transportation modalities. And in particular, with respect to e-bikes, I think we want to encourage their use. And I would very much support Billy's resolution that we simply take out e-bikes and we have additional discussion later on. This is not an either or. At this juncture, what Billy is suggesting, and as I understand, is that at this moment in time, we send something specific and targeted, and we can continue to have conversations around biking and e-bikes in particular. And also, I think lastly, I'm extremely sympathetic overall to the negative interactions. I think it's critical to acknowledge that there have been negative interactions with e-bikes and pedestrians and regular biking, but you know what, that is the case with automobiles as well. At this juncture, I want to circle back to the main point, which is to be targeted and specific, and we'll have the opportunity to continue this conversation around e-bikes in particular.
Thank you, Sharon. I just want to make one point of information, and that is that resolve clause that Billy had proposed taking out regarding Central Park. So that was actually a pilot program that was not just exclusive to Central Park, but for all New York City parks. So what occurred was a few months back was the beginning of this year-long pilot program to allow e-bikes in New York City parks in general. But I think what is also important to note is most people were not aware that that prohibition was even in place beforehand. And I can tell you from personal experience with my son, who he used to take out a city bike and pedal a city bike and have fun riding in Central Park, not having any idea that what he was doing was not allowed. So I just want to make that clear in terms of what's being proposed for being excluded from this and what the actual policy is.
Felice has had her hand up before, I promise to recognize you. Go ahead, Felice.
Thank you, and I just want to make a friendly amendment or propose a friendly amendment to Billy's resolution. I think the term moped is too narrow. It is, and what we're trying to get at are those electric scooters. And I'm not even sure that's the correct term, but it's all those like little motorcycles that aren't really motorcycles, but are zipping throughout the city. That if we just say mopeds, I think it's too narrow, and I think we're of a certain age where we know what a moped is, but I don't think that's really what we're trying to address.
Well, I don't know if Bill wants to accept that. Can you hear me?
Well, yes, I can. And I apologize. I'm not going to be able to accept it because am I allowed to speak to why? Because, and I'm looking at this graphic, which I wish I could send you easily, Felice, but from the DOT, e-scooters versus what you're describing, I think is actually quite different. So they look at e-scooters, so I don't want to put that language in there. And it's something that can go only up to 15 miles per hour. It has handlebars, et cetera. It weighs less than 100 pounds. If you're thinking of those like motorcycle-like things that we see that are referred to as, I'm calling mopeds, then I think we're talking about the same thing. And I'm including those in this resolution because that would include the class C, B, and A mopeds, which are 20, 30, and 40 mile per hour max respectively. That's where like someone's actually sitting down on it. So when you say scooter, if you're thinking of like where someone's sitting down, it's got like, motorcycle-like appearances, then I think we're talking about the same thing. And so I wouldn't accept an amendment to use the word e-scooter because I think it would confuse the issue and apply to things that we're not trying to include.
Russell, did you hear him?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, thank you.
And you still have one.
Yeah, so I oppose the substitute resolution. I made the original motion, so I just want to state clearly, I understand the difference between e-bikes and mopeds, and I deliberately included e-bikes in the resolution. I think everybody who supports the resolution understands the difference. I think every time somebody talks about e-bikes, we have people who say, oh, you guys don't understand the difference. We do, we understand the difference. We are specifically talking about e-bikes intentionally. And that's because there is a concern about e-bikes. And if you listen to the people who spoke during the party session, if you listen to the people who spoke during the meeting, what they have said consistently is that as pedestrians, they have concerns about close calls or collisions that they've had with e-bikes specifically. They are not talking about mopeds, they're talking about e-bikes. And the fact of the matter is, electric bikes are capable of going faster than regular bicycles. And that's what the concern is. And that's why they've had those concerning encounters. And that's the purpose for including them. We, as a community board, and I personally have consistently supported bike lanes in this board. This is not a resolution about discouraging the use of e-bikes or some sort of stealth attempt to eliminate e-bikes. It is purely about a common sense method of saying we need enforcement and pedestrians are concerned. And right now there is no enforcement. And the real problem is there's no mechanism. So the question that I asked during the committee meeting when I offered the resolution, and the question that I repeat here again, and the question which no one has answered is, if there are not license plates on these electric bikes, to say nothing of mopeds, which I think are already required to have them, what enforcement is possible? Answer the question. What enforcement is possible on an electric bike unless it has some sort of identification on it, like a license plate? Because in the absence of that, as Michelle pointed out, there's nothing you can do. We're not doing high-speed chases against this. What is the answer? Give me the answer. No one has answered the question. That's the reason for the resolution.
I should just point out a little bit of the history of this. At one point, all of these things were not legal. If you had a motor on something like a bicycle, it was illegal in New York City to operate. And the state legislature specifically did legalize it. So that's why we're in the position that we're in. And in order to get some of the things that we're asking for, the state legislature would then have to agree and pass that kind of.
That's who we want to do it.
No, I understand. I just want, John?
Thank you. At the last meeting, I said I had an equal fear of mopeds and e-bikes because to me, they're equally menacing when they're coming up First Avenue, well over 20 miles an hour. But the one question I do have is, if you are a law-abiding e-bike rider, why do you fear this regulation? I mean, if you're riding correctly and not menacing people, what difference does it make? I mean, this is aimed at the people who are violating the law, and that's my point.
I think what you say is valid, but I think the example that I was providing regarding city bike, e-bike, pedal assisted bikes in Central Park and people who are legitimately using it for commuting purposes and using pedal assist versions that don't go as fast and require effort. I think that's the distinction that some people are having a challenge with, because there are those who are doing everything the right way, using those few city bikes. Those do obviously have identification,
Right.
maybe not prominent, but they do. But those are
doing that or with a Citibank or a city bike or an e-bike. If you're obeying the law, you have nothing to fear. It's the people who are speeding 20 miles an hour and menacing pedestrians.
Understood, but part of the resolution was to prohibit people who are obeying the laws who commute through Central Park because it's safer than even protected bike lanes at times. Though they would be the ones who would be adversely impacted by this.
No.
Okay, on the Zoom, I think Sherry Wiener had her hand up, if she's still there. Yes, go ahead, Sherry. Can we unmute Sherry?
As one who both walks in Central Park and rides my manual bicycle in Central Park, at this point, you have to you take your life in your hands when the people are speeding on their manual bikes. To add having to also look out for e-bikes, which goes with speed, I think is putting people at risk. And Billy, if you want people to do exercise, let them take their manual bikes. People who are riding e-bikes it's not exercise. You're just putting your foot on the pedal. So I oppose Billy's amendment and would stick with the original resolution that e-bikes should not be included, should not be allowed to drive in Central Park, and they also should have licenses, so there can be enforcements of them.
Paul?
Microphone, so that people can hear. That's okay. I'll hold it. Thank you. I fully support Billy's amendment or amended resolution.
Yeah, just speak up. It is on there, so
You
just
just
speak
gotta
up.
project, because the microphones are just. I fully support what Billy is suggesting. I understand that people have reservations about all sorts of two-wheel vehicles. From my perspective, by far the most dangerous ones are the moped, the larger vehicles. I find them terrifying. They're terrifying when they come into bike lanes, on the streets. And my personal favorite that I hate them for is when I ride my bike on the Queensborough Bridge. It's a very narrow bike lane that's shared with pedestrians. You have one of those things coming at you. The big difference between many of those and the e-bikes that we're talking about is they can be 150 or 200 pounds each. You put a regular sized human being on top of that, that's a 400 pound or 300 and 400 pound thing coming at you that can do serious damage. And people are hurt by that. I think it's absolutely imperative we do something about those. I actually think to try and make it more broad,
and go and talk about e-bikes as well, I think that's much more complicated. I could tell you stories about lots of people I know who ride e-bikes or e-assist bikes. When you ride a pedal assist bike, you're still riding the bicycle. But when there's a big hill, I don't ride them, but when you're a big hill, you get an assistance. There's still bicycles you ride by you moving your legs. But I know lots of people who ride city bikes like that around the park. That's their way of getting around. People I know who have kids, they have e-bikes because they put their kids on the back, the special bike for kids and families. Cargo bikes. There are lots of different kinds of people that ride what we all call e-bikes. So my suggestion, if you want to get full support of the board, is to narrow this down to mopeds, as Dylan suggested earlier, and start with that. I think taking Central Park out is also important, and that's all I have to say. Happy, happy birthday, Will.
On this side, I'm gonna over here.
Okay.
I could call the question on the.
Which one?
There's a point of.
Information.
We haven't had a second here. Rebecca wanted to.
I say it's-
Point of information.
Hold on, there's a point of
I didn't hear,
information.
I didn't hear a second.
All right.
Rebecca?
I have some information. I would like to know if we are treating this as a substitute resolution.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, substitute resolution. Okay. Okay, second. Okay. All in favor of calling the question? Okay, any opposed? Okay.
Rebecca, what?
So can,
We're
let's
calling
just,
the question.
can you just say it one more time? Say, just repeat what Billy's substitute motion is, because I want to make sure that people on the Zoom.
Yes,
hear it, everybody.
we're calling the question on the substitute motion, which essentially deletes e-bikes from the original resolution and also deletes the Central Park resolve clause from the resolution. That's what it does. So it applies to mopeds and nothing with regard to Central Park. So that's, so why don't we call roll?
Okay, Anderson.
No.
Angelos.
No.
Ashby.
No.
Barron.
No.
Birnbaum.
No,
Bayer Michaels.
No.
Boris.
Yes.
Mrs. Brown.
No.
Camp.
No.
Chu.
Abstain.
Cone.
no,
Cormac.
Yes.
Dangor.
No.
Farber, yes. Freeland.
Yes.
Hutchinson.
abstain,
Milburn. Johnson. Strickler. Later. Webb. Mason. No. Clement. No. Meyerson. Mossman. Marshall. No. Phillips. Hope Marshall.
This is, the answer is yes. It's voting on the substitute motion.
Correct.
Yes.
Hopper.
No.
Price.
No.
Rose.
No.
Rudder.
No.
Sanchez.
No.
Schneider.
No.
Seligson.
No.
Spagnoletti.
No.
Squire.
No.
Tamayo.
No.
Wald.
No.
Warren.
Yes.
Weiner.
No.
The substitute motion fails. 8 yes, 31 no, and 3 abstain.
Jane?
Did we call the question on the original resolution?
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, call the roll on the original resolution.
All right, here we go. Anderson,
information.
What's the question?
Is your licensing, would these be state or city?
It doesn't specify.
Well, it would, you'd have to get state legislation. So this is for the state, and any small town would be what we're saying. Well, depending on what the legislation.
It says what it said. The resolution says what it says.
all right, here we go. I'm gonna speak loudly because this isn't working. Anderson.
Yes.
Angelos,
Yes.
Ashby,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Bear Michaels.
Yes.
Birnbaum,
Yes.
Boris,
No.
Brown, Mrs. Brown,
Yes.
Camp,
Yes.
Chu,
Abstain.
Cone,
Yes.
Cormac,
No.
Dangor,
Yes.
Barber,
Yes.
Freeland,
No, no, no.
Hartzog,
Yes, twice.
Kirshenson,
Abstain.
Halpern,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Prickler,
I would bring those like
Later,
No.
Lev, yes. Mason,
No.
McClement,
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I did one wrong.
yes. Yes,
All these multiple votes are messing me up.
McClement,
Absolutely, yes.
Meyerson,
Yes.
Mossman,
No.
Partial,
Yeah.
Phillips,
Yes.
Pope Marshall,
No.
Price,
Yeah.
Popper,
A good yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Rudder,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Seligson.
Yes.
Spagnoletti.
Yes.
Squire,
Yes.
Tamaya.
Yes.
Wald,
Yes.
Warren,
No.
Weiner.
Yes.
All right, that resolution passes 32 yes, 8 no's, 2.
Well, the transportation committee, we like to make the trains run on time, so I'm sorry it took so long.
Thank you. All right, next up is the Landmarks Committee, David and Jane.
This one's.
Oh, it's on the table. It's next to us.
What's that?
Yeah. But I'm gonna jump right in. The first, we heard 2 applications on Monday night. Both quite interesting. The first was 985 Fifth Avenue. I wonder if we could show the visuals.
Yeah,
This is a non-contributing building within the Upper East Side of the Metropolitan Museum Historic District. It was built in 1970. There's a picture of it. It's a really nondescript, very uninteresting building. The applicant wants to replace it with a building that borrows a lot of elements from the pre-war vernacular. You can see it there. It has setback starting at the 13th floor. It rises from the street wall, unlike the existing building, which has a driveway in front. Barbara, you have your hand up. Elizabeth, sorry.
Okay. I just want to make sure I get to ask my question.
Oh, okay.
Holding my hand up.
Okay, thank you. If you could go, there are quite a couple of really, there's an axonometric drawing, which here you can see the setbacks. You can see the crown at the top. A rusticated base for 3 floors, then an unadorned shaft. then a very decorative crown that reverts back to the limestone at the top in 3 dimensions. The secondary elevations are limestone, mostly brick with some limestone decoration. But I especially want you to see some of the more whimsical touches. I don't know whether you can see it, but if we could get the cursor on this darling. What they're referring to is a dog basin or dog bar cut into the limestone. It's really adorable. If you go back to the previous slide. If you can see another very whimsical touch is the 985 etched onto the front door. The 9, the 8, and the 5 is a reference back to what was there before. And then if you go to the next slide, you can see this very darling whimsical squirrel. Studio Sofield, which designed this building with just extraordinarily beautiful detailing, which you can't, this resolution and the few drawings I've shown you don't do it any justice, but he also was the architect for the Brodsky building on East 79th Street off of Lex, between Lex and Park, that utterly glorious building. So this resolution, just so you can see these darling little whimsical touches, I can't do justice to all the detailing in this glorious building. The windows, I do think the committee felt the windows were rather banal because they aren't multi-lighted windows. But in general, it was a split vote, 5-4, 3 against, and my co-chair now voting for a pause. So we'll go to questions, Elizabeth.
Okay, since this is an as of right proposed building, this is our only shot at the apple. So did anybody ask the applicant how many apartments are in the current building and how many apartments are planned for the proposed building?
Yes, that was asked. It's not really our purview. We're for context and appropriateness. The new building will have
only bite at the apple. so
yes,
we gotta ask
and
these
that we
questions.
kept beating that over the bush at the committee meeting because I wanted to make sure that everything got answered. Because it was our only bite at the apple. There are 32 apartments in the new building. The existing building has 64 apartments, so and they are, well, there was some discussion about whether they're market rate or whether they're rent stabilized.
So,
but the new
thank you for
apartments will
asking.
be luxury
It's a
condominiums.
beautiful building.
Yes.
It is certainly better than the building that's there, but it is part of the problem, not part of the solution for New York City.
Well, that was mentioned by some of our very vocal committee members, but it is not our purview. Our purview is context and appropriateness.
Understood.
Alita.
I'd like to propose a substitute resolution, which is to treat the windows separately from the rest of the building.
Second.
I don't think we can do that tonight. I'm sorry you didn't suggest it at the committee level, but we're not going to do it tonight.
Then I'd like to just address the issue of the windows, which, as you pointed out, are banal and don't suit a beautiful street, a stretch of Fifth Avenue opposite the Met, where plenty of people congregate and walk along Fifth Avenue on the west side of the street. They'll be looking at the building. The windows are horrible. They're punched in windows with no ornamentation, no differentiation, almost single pane. They just are completely unsuited for a building that's limestone, that has the charming and delightful details that you pointed out. They're vastly inappropriate.
Thank you, Alita.
Thank you.
Ed.
Yeah, just to speak to quickly, it's not in your purview. As co-chair of the housing committee, I love and appreciate everyone's concern for affordable housing. But with all due respect to everyone here, Fifth Avenue is not the demographic we're talking about. And while I would love to have more apartments and that kind of thing, the real issue we have in terms of buildings that have deep pockets, Adam can speak to this, is the warehousing issue. And I don't think this particular building really has that kind of a problem. So for me, as co-chair of the housing committee, I will not be voting against this for that particular reason. I will probably vote for it because I follow you, David, on these matters of the landmark, because I have absolutely no artistic skill whatsoever.
Well, I'm not sure that I do sometimes, but thank you. That did come up as well at our committee discussion. It is not our purview. Thank you. Valerie.
On the questions being asked, this condominium is replacing a rental building.
correct?
That is correct.
So it's really a change in housing stock as well. So, I mean, I know Fifth Avenue, you know.
It's not
and
just
my
the-
objection is not about affordable or not affordable. It's quantity. It is simply about sheer units. Whether they're affordable or not is not the issue.
But this board has to decide whether this apartment building that will replace a very banal, non-contributing building within a historic district deserves to be supported by this board. That's the issue before you guys.
Jane, you have one hand up on the Zoom.
Marco. Oh, and I'll go to Rebecca too.
Thank you. Let me clarify one point. They're talking about density. Usually, strongly support density. But let's go, the purview of our community is the historical and architectural value. Let's go talk about historical part, I'm sorry. The city of New York was going north. As soon as moving north, the housing, the residential district, commercial follow, industrial follow. Until the historian says it reached to the biggest stop, Central Park. And the Central Park was established exclusively Fifth Avenue for extremely wealthy people. And that is the history of our community. And that is the connotation around the city. Therefore, the density in this area is completely very, very low. And we have been showing a pattern right now, in the landmarks constantly is coming and they change one building for one family house, 19,000 square feet with a swimming pool in the cellar. So that is the character of this wealthy enclave in our community. We are not changing the meaning of that. That is history. That is part of the traditional, the Upper East Side. To reduce the density in this case, we have to follow the historical pattern that has been happening in that section. By the way, I abstain. I'm gonna keep abstaining because I found that the building itself, I'm gonna go straight because of the time. It looks for me more than a mausoleum than a residential building. Because the designer is coming with some small details to bring up, to lift up the building. The materials are high quality, without no doubt. The design, they try to replicate something of the traditional architectural, traditionally classic architecture, the three elements, but it's still short in his design. I found empty, and this is why I'm going to abstain, because I have a dilemma between the density, the history that I explained, and the contribution in that part. Thank you.
Thank you, Marco. Rebecca.
Call the question.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Michelle, I just want to say that Michelle was having.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I can't see the,
You want to just call him Michelle?
Yeah,
Michelle,
thank you.
go ahead.
Thank you. My hand was up. I think I was the
Yeah,
first one to have my hand up, but at any rate, I oppose this strictly based on the architecture, the appropriateness for the area, for the district. The building that is going to be torn down is a very, very tall building, but it was built in its time and reflects its time. Whatever it is, it was appropriate to that time. This building that is proposed is neither here nor there. It doesn't represent anything. It doesn't represent the elegance of Fifth Avenue and the buildings that are within the streetscape or that are visually can be seen. The materials that, yes, they use limestone, but in the front of the facade, they use it in a very contemporary way, like a convex fluting. The windows add nothing to the character of the building. And I don't know if you've got a rear facade up there, but if you look at the rear facade, it looks completely institutional. There's no charm about this building. There's nothing where it really contributes to this. And to my mind, it certainly does not warrant tearing down an existing building to put this one up. That's why I voted against it. I don't have the images in front of me, but they are in my mind's eye. I very carefully looked at it during our consultation in committee. I don't think it meets any real standard in terms of our historic district and iconic Fifth Avenue. So I would turn it down. I think that they could do better, not to mention the fact that it is, and this is not context inappropriateness, but it is a momentous undertaking, this project, to tear down something like that. But at any rate, I voted against it because of context and appropriateness. Doesn't belong.
Okay, so thanks. So the question has been called and seconded. Can we take a vote?
Yes, I think we can.
Anderson, Angelos,
Yeah.
Ashby,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Bayer Michaels,
Yes.
Birnbaum,
No.
Flores,
Abstain.
Mrs. Brown,
Mrs. Brown, please unmute.
Not there.
It's not there.
okay. Camp,
No.
Chu,
Yes.
Cone,
No.
Cormac,
Abstain.
Dangor,
Yes.
Farber, no. Freeland,
Yes.
Hartog. Hershenson,
Yes.
Halpern,
Not voting for cause. I've collaborated with Bill Sofield, so I'm not voting.
Johnson,
Pass.
Prickler,
Yes.
Later,
Yes.
Lev,
Yes.
Mason,
Pass.
McClement,
Yes.
Meyerson,
Yes.
Mossman,
No.
Partial,
Yes.
Pope Marshall,
Yes.
Phillips,
Abstain.
Hopper,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Rose,
No.
Rudder.
Yes.
And Rita, you were yes, I think our accent, Price was yes, okay, sorry, just wanted to double check that. Sanchez,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Seligson,
Yes.
Spagnoletti,
Yes.
Squire,
Pass.
Tamayo,
Abstain.
Wald,
Not voting for cause.
Warren,
Yes.
oh,
The applicant is a client of my firm.
Warren,
Yes.
Weiner.
Yes.
Okay, going back to those who passed.
Yes.
Okay, Johnson. Is a yes. Mason,
Abstain.
Mrs. Brown, she here?
Let's see if she'll unmute this time.
She's not responsible. She's not there.
It passed.
Okay,
It passed.
the motion, passed.
Squire.
Oh,
I squared it.
Yes.
It passed.
thank you. The motion passes 27 yes, 6 no, and 6 abstain, and 2 not voting for cause.
Thank you very much.
You have one more.
Yes, I know.
Just.
The next one is 163 78th Street. Can we just put it up quickly? This was a unanimous vote against this proposal. Can we?
Yeah, sorry, I had fun.
This is an individual landmark. Quite frankly, I don't think it should have been an individual landmark, but it came before they were doing the historic districts. He did a very good job on the facade. You can see on the left what it looks like today. On the right, he's improved the upper floor, the fourth floor. He's maintaining the look of the windows, even though they're all new. He's removed gates and put in gratings, and he's improved the ground floor. Mostly, he's improved the fourth floor. It's stucco. He's turning it into brick to match the brick in the front, and he's extending the windows. However, just go back 1 second. You'll see a very big penthouse there, and that's a real problem. Go down to the next one. In the rear, you can see what the scale is right now. He's expanding the rear. It still leaves a 32-foot long rear yard. And he's aligning it with the townhouses next door. However, the rear is very, very contemporary in feeling. It's all glass, it's very glassy. And again, you have this very big penthouse. Last but not least, when we looked at the model that's put on the top, and we looked at photographs, it's going to be very visible. So I think in terms of what happened in the rear, in terms of the visibility of the penthouse, we all voted against this. So this is you vote yes, it's against this proposal. Marco.
Thank you. Can I call the question?
Anyone opposed to calling the question?
No.
Alrighty,
Sorry, is this unanimous? Then we're gonna vote against this resolution?
I'm sorry, I'm doing this.
That's okay, you don't have to follow, you want to do it.
All right, Anderson. Yes. Angelos.
Yes.
Ashby.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Bear Michaels.
Yeah.
Birnbaum.
Yes.
Boris.
Yes.
Brown. She's there. Alita, or sorry, Camp.
Yes.
Chu.
Yes.
Cone.
Yes.
Format.
Yes.
Dangor.
Yes.
Farber.
Yes.
Freeland.
Yes.
Bradley, are you there?
In the
Yes.
meantime,
And yes.
Helper.
Yeah.
Johnson.
Yes.
Crickler. Crickler.
Yes.
Later. Lev, no. Mason.
Yes.
McClement.
Yeah.
Meyerson.
Yes.
Mossman.
Yes.
Partial.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Pope Marshall.
Yes.
Popper.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Rudder.
Yes.
Sanchez. I think he might have left. Schneider.
Yes.
Seligson.
Yes.
Spagnoletti.
Yes.
Squire.
Yes.
Tamayo.
Yes.
Wald.
Yes.
Warren.
Yes.
Weiner.
Yes.
Thank you for indulging me.
All right, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
All right, next up is street life, and I think I will do that one.
Yeah, it's not here.
So you can see from the minutes, there are a number of unanimous approvals, namely 1A, 1B, 1C, 2B, 2C, 2E, and 3A. Would anybody like to suggest we take those all together?
All of them.
On all of them together, right? Second, anyone opposed to doing that?
And also, one question, I think I abstained in one of them, I couldn't find the CO, therefore I would like to vote for the application, maybe that will be part of the whole group.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so
which-
it was on 1D, so.
Yeah, 1D is not among the ones that we're voting on right now.
No, but what I say is, I'm gonna change my vote, I'm gonna vote yes, because I couldn't find the CO to make my vote.
I want to include it in the amendment.
Which one?
One D.
1D.
One D.
So we'll put.
No, it's not 1D because Cos voted against.
Oh,
Cos voted
okay.
against that one.
That's,
That's okay. I appreciate the thought.
I'll go for my vote on that too. So
Yeah.
Make it unanimous.
So that one's unanimous. So the, as I understand the, yeah, so the idea is to call the question on 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 2B, 2C, 2E, and 3A is all unanimous approvals.
Yes.
Anyone opposed to doing that?
No.
Is anyone gonna vote no on these? All right, great. Okay, so that's done. Next, 2D, which was a non-unanimous approval, which was, oh, sorry, this one. 2D is, right, bread and wine. Okay. So, oh, and Kaza voted against this one. I think
I'm
this is.
gonna keep my vote again, knowing the applicant and misleading information. I'm still voting.
Okay,
Call a question.
Second.
anyone opposed to calling the question? All right, call the please.
It's on 2D. Just not the only one voting no.
No, we still have to-
The other.
Anderson. Angelos.
Yes.
Ashby.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Baron Michaels.
Yes.
Birnbaum.
Sorry, couldn't hear. What are you calling the question on? The unanimous approvals?
No, we did that one already. So you.
Oh, so are you calling the question on 2D as in dog?
Yes.
Yeah, well, if I knew you were on that, I'm in opposition to that, but because I want to hear more about it. This has to do with live music and we haven't heard any explanation from the chairs as to the nature of the discussion.
We are in the middle of voting. There actually was an explanation for the sole no vote, and it's something that's very specific to the. So well, you just have to vote. You have to, I don't have a mic.
Are you a yes or no?
No, I understand the frustration of everybody. Will has reflected that. But the point is we can't hear. So if you personally are not speaking or somebody at the podium is not speaking, we can't hear any of the comments. So I didn't even know you were on this. So with that in mind, in fairness, I would hope that you would entertain some kind of explanation of the discussion that.
Yes or no?
You just have to vote.
Or abstain.
Or say it's 2D, yes, no, abstain.
Abstention is like.
Move on.
Or you could pass.
What was your decision, Russell?
You have to vote. We're not discussing it again.
No.
All right, thank you. Boris.
All right, Lori?
Yes.
Brown, Mrs. Brown.
Yes.
Camp.
No.
Chu,
Yes.
Cone,
Yes.
Cormac,
Yes.
Dan Gore,
Yes.
So you want to just make Michelle vote yes on everything?
Barber,
Yes.
Freeland.
Yes.
Freeland. Price. Rose.
Yes.
Rudder.
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Schneider,
No, there goes back the.
Seligson,
Yes.
Spagna,
Yes, no.
Squire,
Yes.
Tamaya,
Yes.
Wald,
Yes.
Warren, Weiner.
Okay, so what we're gonna do right now is, Will, in the chat, type. Yeah, just ask everybody who's on Zoom, number one, to turn their camera on if they want to vote. Number two, to send you by chat their vote, and you tell us what it is, and then we'll move to the next one.
They can hear us now and they can unmute and say, so where did we leave off? Person?
Yeah.
Camera on.
Yes.
And Sharon, and Pope is a yes.
Thank you.
Great. And then Weiner, I think I heard a yes.
Yes.
Is a yes.
Awesome, I think we've caught up with everyone then.
You got Philly?
Did we?
Billy, yeah.
Billy, yeah, Billy was yes.
I voted yes.
So. Seeking.
Excited about the prospect of finally having legal. We don't want to have. That's why.
Really quickly, they can hear us, so. I'm hoping that I'm loud enough that it's gonna pick it up, and now it does seem like it's hearing us. So here we go.
Is that the whole microphone? Is that the issue?
I have no idea. Everybody wave if you can hear me. Yay. No, yes, yes. Michelle, can you hear me?
No.
No. A thumbs up is all we need. And for some reason, if you're standing over there, it picks you up really well. Like when David was speaking earlier, it was doing well.
Yeah.
Give it some more.
Thank you, Roslyn. According with one of the leaders of 123th Street, a couple of months ago, they interviewed and said, it's outrageous to put these kind of stores on one community. It is outrageous in 123th Street. It is outrageous in the residential district in our community. It shouldn't be a place for this kind of facilities. It should be located in 1 and 2. That means in industrial areas. If they have well protection, they can go over there, and those people that want to buy it, they can go and buy over there. And finally, somebody asked the applicant and said, what kind of payment do you receive? And he said he will only receive debit card or cash. On the other hand, about a week ago, the state of Connecticut said that they had received $5 million for selling cannabis while they were expecting $20 million. Therefore, we know cannabis and the cash transactions contribute less to the city's revenue than we expected. And this is one that I oppose that.
So I just, first of all, I reject the premise that, Washington district is somehow sort of lesser than the district. That's right. Yeah, there's contribution. So, yeah, I think revenue doesn't come in as much, that's where the applicant's problem is. Anyway.
As a parent, as a parent of young adults, I can't tell you how relieved I feel when I can see a receipt and a license, and that I can feel safer about the products my child is consuming. So, yes. I just, the social justice committee had a meeting where the chief equity officer from Office of Cannabis Management spoke. And one of the things that among the many things that differentiates the licensed and official cannabis stores from those that are illicit is that the tax revenue that they bring in gets split between schools and reinvestment into historically overseas communities. And I think that that's an incredible benefit to our city. It's okay, well, so I'll be voting yes. I think so, yeah.
Yes.
Second. Before we vote, my last vote, I meant vote yes. Can you change it? Thank you.
Okay, so we're calling the question. And go ahead, so
Anderson.
Are we calling the vote?
yeah.
Somebody said that same thing.
I mean, Mark, I think we're gonna
Anderson? Angelos?
No.
Ashby?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
Mayor Michaels? No. Birnbaum?
What are you voting on? Is this 4A? I think most of us who are on this call did not hear that you were even talking about 4A, and my hand was up before you even entered the conversation, and I wasn't called on. I'm a no vote.
Flores?
I have to say, I agree with Michelle. I can't hear anything. So I guess I'm just going to abstain. I really don't know what you're voting on.
4A.
4A in which committees? I'm sorry?
Street life.
Street life? 4A?
4A.
4A. All right. I'm still going to abstain because it's not clear what people are saying. I haven't heard any, back and forth.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes, I put in the chat box that I couldn't hear and for someone to repeat what is being said. But because I'm part of the Street Life Committee and I know what it's about, I'm voting yes, I'm supporting it. But it's not fair to the other folks on Zoom.
Pam? Sue?
Yes.
Cohen?
Yes.
Cormac?
Yes.
Dangor? I'm gonna pass, Freeland.
May I make a point of information?
Yep.
Since we could not hear, there's something in the resolution that we could not obviously be told about, which is the applicant agreed to CB8 stipulations. So if it's in order, could someone just say before I vote what those stipulations are?
Russell? It's just dies. Yeah, it won't stay on.
No, I mean, it sounds like two people are talking at once, so it's kind of tricky. I can't hear anyone.
You hear me?
Yeah, kind of.
So the stipulations are similar to the liquor license application where we have a standard set of requirements
And stipulations that we ask applicants to agree to. So it includes things like no pub crawls, that they'll abide by delivery rules in terms of, to the extent that they're, doing their own delivery service, that they'll make sure that their delivery people follow the rules and that they're clearly identified and things like that. So it's the sort of standard set of, things that we ask of all applicants to the streetlight committee.
Thank you, Russell. I'm voting yes.
You hear better now? Can anybody hear what I'm saying?
Parsonson?
Yes, and the other microphone is better.
No, he said mine.
Um,
Which is now. Over
Helper,
No.
Johnson,
Yes.
Crickler,
Yes.
Later,
Yeah.
Lev,
Yes.
Mason,
Same.
McClement,
Yeah.
Meyerson,
Yeah.
Partial,
No.
Mossman,
Yes.
Phillips,
Same.
Pope Marshall,
Abstain.
Hopper,
Yes.
Price,
Abstain.
Elizabeth Rose,
Yes.
Rudder,
Yes.
Sanchez, Schneider,
No.
Seligson, Spagnoletti,
Yes.
Squire,
Yes.
Tamayo,
No.
Warren,
Yes.
yeah, I was going back, Walton, and Weiner.
Yes.
Okay, going back to those past, Camp,
No.
Dangor,
Yeah.
and Farber is a yes. I think that is everything. So it passes 29, yes, 8 no, 5 abstain.
All right, thank you. Can the folks on the Zoom hear me?
I think we're just.
Yes. Okay. All right. So look, I'm sorry that we've had the technical issues that we've had tonight. I just want you guys to, I mean, I agree, it's not fair to you. I just know that like, we're limited by, we've been trying as much as possible to make it so that you can hear us. It's not intentional on our part to try to exclude you. So I'm sorry that you haven't been able to hear much of the meeting, and I think it seems like this mic is working better, so we're gonna try and use this mic and just let us know if it's so all right, so the last or the next thing is old business. So basically, just to sort of recap a bit, the open meetings law used to require fully in-person meetings. So there was no hybrid option. When COVID happened, the open meetings law was suspended and we were all on Zoom and all of that. During the course of that time, the open meetings law was changed at the state level to allow for the possibility of hybrid meetings, but only if community boards passed a resolution authorizing themselves to meet hybridly and setting forth the sort of rules around doing that, and they're ultimately subject to the requirements that the state open meetings law proposed for hybrid meetings, including the camera requirement and the in-person forum requirement and that stuff. So our board passed on we decided we wanted to stay on Zoom as long as possible, and that was most of my decision. And what we thought was, essentially, in order to make the decision around whether we would move to permanent hybrid meetings or permanent fully in-person meetings once the suspension of the open meetings law ended, we would temporarily allow for hybrid meetings once we were required to, once the suspension of the open meetings law ended, to give us a chance to essentially try out hybrid meetings, and then we would be able to make a decision about whether we would be permanently hybrid or permanently in person. So the resolution that we passed was to say we were going to be hybrid for 3 months following the end of the suspension of the open meetings law. Because the end of the suspension took place in June, it just so happens that the 3 months includes August, which is a month that Community Board 8 basically does not meet. So even though the intention was to give ourselves 3 months to try it out, we effectively have only 2 months. And so the idea behind this proposal, or what I would suggest that we do, or what we are considering right now, is extending the temporary allowance for hybrid meetings for an additional month to give us 3 actual months to try out hybrid meetings. So that's what I suggest we do, because that I think will give us a little more time to consider this issue. And the one last thing I'll say, I don't know what we're going to do on a permanent basis. I frankly haven't made my mind up about that yet. We are going to consider that. I would just say that I don't think we should put undue weight on the technical issues that we've had here tonight and are, one of the few things that we've done in deciding this. And I think we should give ourselves the benefit of, a full sort of 3 months. And so calling folks, not calling.
Call the question.
No.
Let's just have a little more discussion, but we'll just do, go ahead, Barbara.
I found this outrageous, and I really hope that people that are on Zoom have real reasons. The air quality is great.
People have sent it, and that's,
Okay.
and what we can do is part
There
of
are
the.
people, and if you really are sick, it go back to the old days. The one time there was a full board, it was outside, I was sick and I was marked absent. There is no reason why this has to happen, why it's not only sorry for them, but sorry for us. How much longer did this meeting go? And another thing, we're supposed to keep our camera on the whole time. If it's off, you're marked absent. I'm sorry, we shouldn't have to go back 3 and 4 times to try to get somebody's camera on, to get somebody back on. We did.
All right, I think that is a comment that goes to the ultimate merits.
This is,
You're talking about the merits of the
against
permanent.
extending it. There's no reason, if you're committed to the community board, that 2 times a month, you should be committed to coming. And this was absolutely outrageous for all. It was funny, but it wasn't funny.
Yeah.
It was outrageous for all of us.
All right, Rebecca, and then we're gonna call the question.
I would like a motion, I think we have to make a motion, I would like to make a motion.
Oh, that's your,
that we
okay,
go
that's true.
on each month of exception.
Second.
So the motion is to extend the temporary authorization for this board to meet on a hybrid basis for an additional month, and it's been seconded.
Point of information,
What's your point of information?
is this just for the full board and land use meetings?
Yes, this will not change the allowance for committee meetings to stay on Zoom. assuming that that's what the chairs want to do. And sorry, Paul, you're calling the questions no longer after, because I should not have entertained that, because we have a question for, but go ahead, Michelle.
I'll call the question.
Okay.
when to extend it a month.
Right.
It's only for 1 month, right?
Yeah, we're extending for, that's what, so into October, yes, so we would be hybrid through October under the resolution as proposed. Is anyone opposed to calling the question? All right.
We do have 4 hands up on this one.
Michelle's opposed to calling the question. Yeah, no, I understand. Michelle, can you hear us now?
Look, my hand, excuse me, my hand was the first one up. Tonight speaks to the problem. And I think with all due respect, you have to consider the technology that was available to us tonight, because if you're having meetings and you're going to have them in different venues, excuse me, and unless the office is going to invest in an extensive sound system that we can take from place to place, the sound system in each venue is going to be good to bad to worse. This was horrendous tonight. Now, I appreciate being here, but frankly, it wasn't worth it. The office knows why I couldn't be there in person. And I think in my attendance at the community board since 2006, I must have missed maybe 2 full board meetings. So I am an avid attendee. I like to see it in person, and tonight speaks for the disaster that having a hybrid meeting was. Even if you made an effort, which I know you did, to speak
Michelle,
into the one microphone, and please.
Michelle, I've let you speak extensively. We have now called the question. So, secretaries call the roll.
Anderson.
Yes.
Angelos.
Yes.
Ashby.
Yes.
Gail, Barron.
Yes.
Bayer, Michael.
Yes.
Birnbaum.
No, and I don't like.
Juarez.
Yes.
Mrs. Brown.
This is to extend the hybrid.
Yes.
Yes.
Camp.
Yes.
Chu. Oh, she left. Cohen.
Yes.
Cormac.
No.
Dangor.
Yes.
Barber. Yes. Freeland.
Yes.
Hartzog.
No.
Hershenson.
Yes.
Halpern.
No.
Johnson.
No.
Prickler.
Yes.
Later.
Yes.
Lev.
Pass.
Mason.
No.
McClement.
Yes.
Meyerson.
Yes.
Mossman.
Yes.
Partial.
No.
Phillips.
Yes.
Hope Marshall.
Yes.
Hopper.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Rudder.
No.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Seligson.
Yes.
Spagnoletti.
Yes.
Squire.
Yes.
Tamayo.
Yes.
Wald.
Yes.
Warren.
Yes.
Weiner.
Yes.
The vote passes 32-8. Oh, wait, Lev.
I'm gonna vote yes.
And yes, the vote passes 33-8.
Great pass. All right, so I'm not aware of any, oh, yeah,
Can
go
I-
ahead. Sorry.
Can I just bring up one item of new business?
What is?
Very, very quick. The district needs statement is
Oh,
coming
that's right.
up
Sorry.
before we realize for September, so. Oh,
She's
Uh, it's almost district needs statement time. So if folks can start thinking about it for their committees, what those district needs are, what the text is, the things you want. We have a resolution, not a resolution, a survey that we'll be sending around. So I just want to put that on everybody's plate to start thinking about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Rebecca.
Motion to adjourn?
And please try to be orderly as you hand your tablets back to Robert and Kevin.
You can go outside.
Don't throw and run.